quick live before I get off, people. What's good, folks? How's October so far? It's looking like a bullish end of the year. JK9339, big up to you, bro. It's been a long time. Yeah, man. You know, life and trying to navigate the waters, man. But you know, we'll be back. We'll be back soon. The market, it looks like it's heating up, man, and it's looking like CZ of Binance is he's got some interesting coming out in his chain, man. Yeah, it's really good, man. ENJ Dub, what up, what up, what up? Yo, X1 is actually launching. Ah, bro. That X1 stuff is just I don't know, man. It's like it may launch, but when it launch, everybody's just gonna be looking at each other like, as long as, like, if they don't include Zenians and the Zen burns and the original people like me and you, ENJ Dub, people that burnt Zen and minted Zen and were there since the beginning, it's gonna be hard, you know. But you can't push that stuff all the way back, and that could be an issue for that chain, because if you're teaching first principles, but then you go against the exact machine and principles that you stood for, once stood for, you are now going against that. It's like you're becoming the same machine that you was ought to fight against. This is going to become problematic. Your chain is going to be centralized and all this other stuff, and fair crypto is out the window. So that's not a us problem, it's a them problem. That's why a lot of those guys that were trying to come after me, I just had to remind them, we're not the problem here. We didn't cause all of these issues. They did. You know what I'm saying? We didn't cause issues. We didn't bother anybody. We was just minting and chilling and whatnot. Them dudes were out there telling us from October or something, yo, if you're not mining Zen blocks, you're not a real Zenian. You know what I'm saying? While we was minting OP Zen, while we was reminding people about Zen and the principles of Zen, we was doing that. Not them. They trying to sway people away. They're trying to tell people crypto, I mean, Zen is dead, bro. We psyoped it. We gotta move over there to Zen blocks. We gotta do the intelligent thing. We gotta mine some worthless tokens that we don't know whether it's worth something or not. And that became a huge problem. And it split the community, it divided it. So now it's like confusing. After you say all of that stuff for 2.5 years, telling people that it's not okay to mint Zen, you have to mine Zen blocks. Come on now. People, it's like you coming back to it to confuse people. What was the thing about it? I think they just found out that the founder himself doesn't even care about Zen blocks. He's giving it to somebody else. And that became a huge, yeah. People are gonna come to the sudden realization, bro. It's like whatever. There are other plays though. That's the thing. Is crypto, man. I like that, especially in DeFi, dealing with decentralized finance and all this other stuff. You always diversify your bags, because we don't just have jobs and doing all of these other things. When we come to crypto as well, you protect your funds. Whatever you're DCAing into, whatever. I always tell people to diversify. Like, don't overly spread your hands too thin, obviously. But if you find a few unicorns that are good, stick to them. But, you know, sometimes diversification is also good. What's good? Stay grinding. These RH coins are volatile. What's your take? J Perry 014. Yo, shout out to you, man. RH is like, the coins in his ecosystem are really like PTGC. the alien technology. That's dope, because that used to be on our side. That PTGC, before they went to pulsechain, they were over in Zen. They used to be TG Zen. So it was great technology, and the amazing thing they are building over there is also dope. It actually outperformed the Hex on pulsechain, PLS and PLSX. All the core tokens that Richard Hart he built, PTGC outperformed them. So PTGC could outperform everything else over there. Yeah, it could outperform it. That's the only thing I'm really looking at, though. I don't really see nothing else on pulsechain that's like stood for me, you know? Aside from what dbxen on pulsechain, that could be something if devs like Razvan come back into the picture and decide to take it to the next level. That also could be dope. Zen on pulsechain, I'm minting. I got a bunch of that coming out very soon. So yeah, there's a few more coins. There's a few more coins that yeah, actually that was it. That was PTGC. I got dbxen on pulsechain and Zen on pulsechain. That's about it. It's not much coins that the pulsechain ecosystem is offering. RH just need to come back and stop the mess, boy. You won the lawsuit. Why you scared? It's like he's hiding, bro. It's like, come on, man. If you keep stalling, you're gonna miss out on the bull market. Luciano Patito, Brazil. Hey. Hola, Hogar Bonito. Ronaldinho Gaucho. I'm a big Ronaldinho fan, but Ronaldinho is one of the greatest GOATs in, you know. People say Messi, they say Cristiano Ronaldo because of longevity. But for me, Gaucho was my GOAT when I was coming up in school, and because I watched him. Ballon d'Or Ronaldinho is the one I'm talking about, like 2005, 2006. Ronaldinho was, he was great, man. Gaucho, 2005, 2006 season, when he was at the peak pinnacle. Ronaldinho only had 2 good years. And after that, you know, the partying, the girls kind of ruined his career. But before that, we witnessed raw talent. We seen him perform some miracles and individual performance that was so crazy. To this day, the only player that had a standing ovation at the Santiago Bernabeu, where Real Madrid fans are really, really jealous of their team. Like, they really hold their team for real, dear life. They stood up and clapped because he went over there with Barcelona and he destroyed them 3-0 in their own stadium. Individual performance. I saw him dribble past like 4 or 5 defenders, Michel Salgado, Cannavaro, and all of them, and he cooked them. So yeah, Ronaldinho is a legend, man. Shout out to Gaucho. Ian J. Dub said, Jack said what? He said there's a snapshot being taken on Monday for all Zen Burns records. Think he changed up and isn't being direct about burning because the SEC and legal stuff. Yeah, but he should have thought of that 2 years ago when he was encouraging people to burn, you know? Think about that. That SEC stuff, I don't buy that stuff, bro. It's like, what's the point of doing that? Because 2.5, 3 years ago, man, it's raining heavy over here, guys. So 2.5, 3 years ago, what was the point of telling people to, like, you know, burn Zen? And Zen was created to be burnt. He wasn't created to be really hodled and stuff like that. And people were doing it. It's just like you're switching stories and you're just moving into something else all the time. And that's like, you know, what's the point of doing that? Or now all of a sudden, because of legal stuff, I can't talk about certain things. But the contradiction is you've been talking about it for 2.5, 3 years. That was the whole plan. The whole plan was to move Zen. Everybody knows Zen is worthless. It ain't worth nothing. So what else you gonna do besides burning it and staking it and stuff like that, you know? So that was the whole thing. Like, what was the point of telling people to do it for 2 years? All of a sudden, you involved with the SEC. Now it's like, oh, I can't talk about it because of legal action. Like, come on, man. People spent more money on Zen than they did on Zen blocks and all the other rubbish they created over the past 2.5 years. This is what's not being addressed. People spend a lot of money minting Zen, millions of dollars, like for real, for real. And those people are sitting on the sideline. You got a founder telling them, yo, you can't really burn unless you know what you're really gonna get on the other side. And at the same time, you had other people telling them, no, you stupid. You should keep burning. You should have been keep burning. You see the confusion now? So community is like in the middle of it. So nobody knows what's really going to happen. So since like people don't like playing those kind of games, bro, it's just like, yeah, nah, you just, you're gonna think your investors away after that. They're going to lose faith in that kind of stuff. And it's just like, nah. You're pushing it backwards because the core community that built X1 blockchain is actually Zenians. People that was mining Zen in the beginning. They moved over there and we started running validators and doing all this other stuff. All the way to Solana, it's Zenians that did that. But, you know, it's like, whatever. Luciano Petito says, speak Portuguese. I'm sorry, I do not speak Portuguese. I only speak English. Taka taka ti ti ta. That's my TikTok. Yeah. Luciano said, Santos, Neymar. Neymar is good. But me, Gaucho is legend. Ronaldo El Fenomeno is legend to me. I'm old school. I like Ricardo Santos Leite, Kaká, legend. I like Adriano Ribeiro, Adriano. You remember Adriano, bro? Roberto Carlos, Cafu, you know, World Cup team legend. That's Brazil right there. I can tell you all the 11 players that started in that team. They were all legendary players, you know. You had Tafarel in the keeper. Right back is Cafu. You had Lucio, you know, in the center back. You had Roberto Carlos, left back. You know, Gilberto Silva from Arsenal. You had Rivaldo. You had Dunga. People don't know who Dunga is. And you had Ronaldinho. You had El Fenomeno, Ronaldo. All these guys, man. Denilson. Brazil was a great team. Stickman, what? Spliff? Sexy said, what's up, bro? Yeah, what up, man? Stickman, what up? Cryptarian said, Ronaldo the Phenomenal is by far #1. Yeah, Ronaldo's great, man. I've watched him in Inter Milan. I remember in Inter Milan, I used to go in primary school. He used to play for Inter before he moved to Real Madrid. Remember, he broke his ankle or something. He had an injury. This is why he's the greatest in the world. He had an injury and didn't play football. He didn't play soccer for 4 years. He came back after his injury and won the World Cup in 2002. That's legendary right there. That's El Phenomenal, man. He's crazy. Yeah. Cryptarian. Yeah. Salute. My brother said, you are from Africa. Yes, I'm from Africa. I'm from China. I'm from Jamaica. I'm from everywhere. Olivia Fox. Shout out to you. Annette X1 said, we're going live soon within the week. Yeah, hopefully. I just wish like the Zenians, you know, would be, I don't know. The Zenians would be included and whatnot, because if they're not, if you're pushing them backwards and you just like dismissing them on the sidelines, they're going to move on to something else. I've been in crypto for 9 years. I've seen this play out over and over again. If you walk away from your community is going to walk away from you. So do right by your people. If you don't, then yeah, do right by the little people around you and just make them happy and move on with your life. And other people are also going to move on with their lives. That's it. Yeah, nobody here to hold anybody else's hand. If you don't include people, people are not going to want to be included in your stuff. Hopefully X1 would thrive and it'll become great things, especially for the degen people as well. You know, devs like Jason is pretty much the only developer on X1 testnet right now, building some great things. That's why the degen people on Solana, if they marketed themselves properly, they can capture that Solana crowd. Those crazy Solana people on pump fund and doing all that rubbish, they can actually, you know, look into X1 and, you know, do some great things, and the chain will be much more lively and they will create more volume. That's where, you know, X1 could succeed. But if they don't move that way, then it's just like, yeah. Madly degen for the win. Yeah. Yeah, the people that bought degen early, man, shout out to you guys, man. Yeah. I wanted to get into it, but then, you know, the controversy started and these other people went and created some rubbish Kenny Jean-Pierre tokens, and it was very confusing. It's like, yo, these people are giving you attention. They're giving you traction. Why are you going and creating an exact opposite replica of degen? What are you trying to prove? Like, just to kill the degen people? Like, it wasn't a nice gesture. That's why I was like, I'm going to step back until maybe if it dips one day, I will come and buy degen. Yeah. Ulgedia says Sapam new. Yeah, big up to you, man. Hey, man, shout out to all builders, but I ain't got a problem with people building. I just don't like people who fork other people's stuff and that's all you do. There's nothing really creative about it. It's just like you're forking somebody just to grift off of other people, and that's not a thing to do. Like, you're supposed to build to have an inclusion and build some great things. People would invest. People would put their money in it because that's who we are. This is what DeFi people do. They don't really care about a blockchain is centralized or decentralized or none of that. What they care about is where they can put in their money and stake it and earn rewards and do like what the degen people are doing, launch pads and all these other great things, game plays. You put some game theory into that stuff. Okay, I'm gonna put $1,000 into here. I'm earning about $50 a week or whatever out of it. It's DeFi. That's decentralized finance. That's what people care about. It's working on the centralized chains, to be honest. So it's also working on the decentralized chains. The only difference is the centralized chains obviously are much more riskier. The chain can wake up one day and shut down. But here's the funny thing about crypto, a lot are not telling you. A decentralized chains could also shut down. A decentralized chains could also have issues and have chain data they have to reverse, roll the chain back, and have all these kind of issues where the chain is slowing down. It may never shut down, but if the chain is not decentralized enough, that chain could have issues as well. So you never know. It's technology, bro. There's always failure. There's always failure. Yeah, like last year when we was running validators on the X1 stuff, we never anticipated to wake up one day and that's it. There was no, like, you had to download 3 days worth of gigabytes to roll the chain back and reverse and go back to chain epoch number 360,000 whatever. And that's the thing. Like, it's not easy, but technology is hard. Technology is not easy. Motley says community building. Exactly, man. Exactly. That's what's needed, man. I wouldn't have gone that route. I would have done it like like community building type. Yeah. To bring the Solana people in, the waves in, and they're gonna be likely to, because they're already in the SVM world. It's hard to bridge people from the EVM to the SVM world. It's not gonna be easy. You have to create an easier bridge. Zen could have done it if the burns and all of that stuff were put out there more. You would realize you had more people from your community that already have Zen, and they just waiting to burn it. They waiting to stake it. They waiting to do something with it. So you might as well include them first and put them there through the door. But if you're gonna be playing politics, then your stuff might not work. Ujiria Aisata Ale. Aisata. Salam alaikum, Aisata. Say, what is your name? My name is Dawood. David. Dawood ibn Sulaiman. Sulaiman is Solomon. You know, Muslims and Christians is all the same, bro. That's why I talk the way I talk. People always thinking that, but Islam and Christian is all the same. When the Christians say Solomon, Muslims say Sulaiman. It's the same. When the Christians say David, Muslims say Dawood. It's the same thing. They're all trying to say the same thing. There's only one God, man. In my opinion, that's what I see. That's what I've learned. That's what I grew up knowing. When Jesus was on the cross, he was saying, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. You know, Jesus, he spoke an ancient language called Hebrew Aramaic, you know. And in Aramaic, if you pause this live now and you go to Google and you type the name of God in Aramaic, you're going to be shocked. The name of God in Aramaic is Allah, Allah, Allah. Jesus said Allah, Muhammad said Allah. They both worship the same God. You can never take that away from them. Muhammad just comes from the Ishmaelites. Jesus comes from the Isaac, you know, and Ishmael and Isaac were brothers. So Jesus and Muhammad are technically cousins. They are. They come from the same father, Abraham. Muhammad's grandmother was from Hagar from Egypt, because the first wife of Abraham had a son named Sarah. Right after Sarah gifted Abraham the second wife, who's Hagar from Egypt, a beautiful young lady, and Hagar had a baby with Abraham, and the baby's name Ishmael. And 13 years later, Isaac was born. So through the line of Isaac, because Isaac was born from the first wife, Sarah, finally she conceived and had a baby. So God gave the covenant to the Isaac people. You know, through the lineage of Isaac, God said, I gifted you two sons. And one of them, Isaac, the covenant will be towards him. So a lot of these prophets, they came to the lineage of Isaac, all the way to Jesus Christ. He's the direct descendant of Isaac. But in the book of Deuteronomy, which a lot of people don't like talking about, but it's also the truth, God also blessed the older son, the older boy, Ishmael. And Abraham prayed for it, said, what about my other son? And yeah, so God said to Abraham, as for Ishmael, I have heard thee. 12 princes shall he beget, and I will make him into a great nation. And that's the beauty about Islam and Christianity and Judaism and all of this. This all the same God. So Ishmael, after he was blessed with that, the young boy grew up and he went to a land in Arabia. That's where he settled. So Ishmael left Israel and he went to a land of Arabia. And that land of Arabia where he settled with his wives and children, one of his grandchildren, his name was Kedar. That's why they call Mecca, modern day Mecca. In ancient Israel, they used to call it the land of Kedar. If you read the book of Psalms, Mecca, you know how people are circulating Mecca and they praising God? It was prophesied in the book of Psalms where they say, blessed be the land of Kedar. Kedar is modern day Saudi Arabia right now, where Mecca is. They're going to be singing Selah, Selah. You know what Selah is? That's what the Muslims do 5 times a day. So they're going to be circulating that and singing it. This is in the book of Psalms. It's prophesied long time before the Prophet Muhammad was even born. So they're going to be singing those praises and Selah, Selah, the land of Kedar. Kedar is the direct grandson of Ishmael, and Kedar happens to be the grandfather of a man named Hashem. And Hashem is the grandfather of the Prophet Muhammad. That's why they call the Prophet Muhammad's tribe the Hashemites, Banu Hashem. They are from Hashem. You got to know your history in order to know where all of this come from. So if Jesus says shalom, Muhammad says salam, they both try and tell you the same thing. It just means peace, peace be with you. Jesus, when he went to the upper room and he was speaking to the 12 disciples, he greeted them with a beautiful greeting. Jesus said, Shalom Aleichem. What do the Muslims say? Salam Alaikum. Jesus said in Hebrew Aramaic, Shalom Aleichem. That's how he greeted Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John and them before he went to the upper room. Allegedly, according to the Bible, when he was on the cross, he was crying to another God. He was saying, Elah, Elah, lama sabachthani. My God, why hast thou forsaken me? So he was praying to another God. Come on, man. Jesus was a messenger of God. The Muslims are not your enemies, bro. You got to learn your history. Jesus was a messenger, just like David, just like Solomon, just like Moses, just like Muhammad. They were all messengers of one God. There's only one God. There's no such thing as a Trinity because he didn't teach that. Jesus didn't teach Trinity. Jesus said, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one." That's what Jesus was teaching, the oneness of God. Tawheed, this is what Muhammad taught you. God is one. He's not three, he's not four, he's not five, he's one. You know? That's just a little history that I'll be giving people, man. You got to peep game. You got to know. This all the same God. They all worship the same God. Jesus, Muhammad, Moses, they all had the same message. When they asked Jesus, what's the first commandment? He didn't say Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. He said, Shama Israelu Adonai Echelu Adonai Echad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Jesus said, my Father is greater than I. My Father is greater than all. Jesus said, I can't by my own self do nothing. So he was giving the power and the might to Allah, the God in the heavens, the Father in heaven. This is who Jesus was giving to. You know how I know Jesus is not God? Jesus is a messenger of God. John 10:30, when he said, I and my Father are one. Soon as he said that, the scribes and the Pharisees, they picked up stones and they wanted to stone Jesus to death. Why? Jesus said, why are you stoning me? For which one of my Father's good works you stoning me? They said, no, we're not stoning you for preaching the good word. We're stoning you because you making yourself into a God. You say you and God are one? Jesus said, nah. Is it not written in your law that you guys are gods too? That's when I knew. That's the perfect time for Jesus to say, Trinity, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. I came to die for your sin. He didn't say none of that. He sent them back to the old scripture. And if you go back to the old scripture, you would know that the Israelites, they were called gods. And the sons of God told the daughters of man, Israel is my son, even my firstborn. So if Israel is God's firstborn, what does that make Jesus, what, the secondborn? Come on, it doesn't make sense. So he's just telling them, if someone call you a son of God, or good Lord or God as a human being, they're not calling you literal God. They're just calling you a righteous man. That's what it means. So being a son of God is just a righteous man. Because in the Old Testament, there was a lot of sons of God. It's not just only Jesus. There's a lot of people that was called sons of God and whatnot. So you got a peep game. It all goes back to Adam, is it? Yeah. We all sons, children of Adam, and we all children of God in the Most High. And yeah, I believe there's only one God, bro. I don't believe Jesus was God. I believe he was a messenger of God. He was a beautiful spirit and a soul. That's why if you read the Quran, Jesus is never disrespected in the Quran. If you go to Gaza right now, Palestine, they're not going to spit in your face. They're not going to treat you that way. We all know who does not, do we? As a Christian, them Palestinians are not going to spit in your face. They're going to respect you because they love Jesus. They were taught to love Jesus. Jesus is Palestinian. He was born in Palestine. He was born in Bethlehem, but not far from the West Bank. You know? Yeah. I had to cut electrons loose. Humble servant. Anet X1, what did he say? He said, all degen holders were the ones that pumped KGP to 200K market cap. Yeah, but then somebody else rugged it. That's the thing. I just don't like pump and dumps, boy. It's so much shit coins that was created that were unnecessary. When you had the good developers, it was right there. It was right there. That was my whole argument, but they're not listening. It was right there. You had the good developers. You had the dbxen that was burning it. You had a contract like what's the one, the PTGC? It shouldn't have never been on pulsechain. It should have been TGZen on that side to support dbxen, to help burn Zen, and it would have slowed the inflation down. When people see the inflation is slow, even though it's being minted, but the inflation is slow, and their mints are more profitable, they would have made, like, you know, that up April 2023 momentum, we know price dumps, people sell, but maintain that level. Don't let it die off. And this is what happened. They start beefing with developers like Razvan. Now he's gone. PTGC devs left. Tinex was the biggest fuck up. excuse my terms, it was the biggest mess because Titanx, the founder, was actually bullish on Zen. He loved Zen, and he wanted to do some great things. Like he wanted to build it on top of Zen, but because someone created VMPX and caused him to lose a lot of money with VMPX, he got screwed over, and all of that stuff was unnecessary. VMPX shouldn't have never existed. All of that rubbish, garbage, zone token, none of that should have existed. It's just like you grifting from one grift to the other to dilute from your core coin. Charles Hoskinson didn't move like that. You know, the what do you call it? Even Richard Hart, he stuck with Hex for 2 years until people made money with it. That's why he was able to collect $1 billion in sacrifice. Why? Because he made Hexicans rich with Hex. Charles Hoskinson, 7,000 documented millionaires with Cardano in September of 2021. He stuck with one product for many, many years, and he built around it. That's what you do. You don't drift away to different communities and different blockchains and just building a whole bunch of shit coins there because it's the hot topic of the week. As a founder, if you move that, you're not going to be a trustworthy founder. You're going to lose that trust. People are not going to trust you. That's why when it comes to when it comes to investing into X1 blockchain, a lot of people didn't even look that way. They didn't even put money in it. You barely collected any funds because you destroyed that trust. If you breach that trust between you and people, it's not going to work out for you like that. I know, but I've been in crypto for too long. This type of stuff always play out like this. People come into crypto, want to be founders and do all this other stuff, but then the mess that you create, it falls back on you. So Zen is not burning anymore. That's the thing. We don't know. We got to worship the SEC now. So the SEC, you know, we're scared of them. So we don't want to talk about anything. We talk about Zen burns once X1 launches. The XNT token is put on Solana, is traded on Solana. The VCs would eat first, and then the validators, and then the people who mine these worthless tokens like Zen blocks and that, they're going to make their money first. And then the doo-doo crumbs that's left, it's going to get thrown to Zenians. I think this is where it's headed. That's when the burn auctions, all of that will be pushed far back, and it'll start much later on because we're not important anymore. The people that built them from the beginning are not important. That's what I see. They don't value you, so why should you value them? Like, come on. Arnett X1, big up to you, Arnett. He said, we're burning Zen still. Yeah, people are doing it, but you don't know where it's headed. Do you think Zen is a dead project? No, I think Zen would have its cycle because Zen is designed like Bitcoin. This is what a lot of people don't know. You can still mint Zen, and if you like the speculative type, you can speculate on Zen. Zen could have another 12x reversal like it did in April of 2023. I think this year, end of this year, Zen could have a surprise reversal. If X1 launches and kind of supports it and drags it up with it, then people will be interested in it and they're going to come back to it. Next year also, Zen could also have another reversal. It's not over for Zen, but I don't think Zen is dead. CI said, when Richard Hart interview, hey, Richard, come sit on me. Richard, here's the thing, though. These founders would never sit down with a Nakamoto, bro. I'm different. I don't glaze people, bro. I'm telling you straight up the truth. I'm going to ask you the questions that people want to know. That's why a lot of them can't sit down with Nak, bro. You know, the energy is different over here. It's different. I'm gonna sit down with Ricky. I'll be like, so what's up, Ricky? Why you running? Why you punching niggas in the face and whatnot? You know, why you fighting some 15-year-old boy and stuff? That be my questions, bro. Why you running with people's money? Why people sacrifice $1.6 billion and you don't know how to face them now? You hiding behind bunkers and you sending people mixed signals. But you know, they're not gonna ask that. They're gonna romanticize blockchain and whatnot. Gotta get in the Telegram and Twitter groups. Yeah. I'm a busy man, bro. That's it. I'm always busy. That's why I don't really be doing that kind of stuff. People just don't see me much because that's what I be doing. When I tell people I'm working. Sometimes I be clocking double shifts and whatnot. So if I'm doing 6 days a week, Monday to Saturday, and you expect Nakamoto to sit on Telegram groups, writing people back and forth. I've never typed on Telegram to anybody for real, for real. It's like I just don't have the time to. Sometimes I get on there, I'm like, what's going on Telegram? I scroll to, I start reading, it's just two people going back and forth, or other people going at other people, and it becomes toxic real quick, and my mind can't think that. I'm like, nah, man, this ain't crypto, I'm out. That's the same thing with Twitter. People start typing each other with tweet. This one write this one, and that one writes that one. When you see my Twitter, it's like goofy. It's all about soccer. Sometimes I see some funny stuff in crypto. I repost it. I say something, but that's about it. I'm terrible at engaging, bro. It's just I'm old school, you know. When I get off the internet, I'm really off the internet. Like I'm not there for multiple hours. Sometimes you might see me tweet something, but I'm not really there. It's just something that I randomly see on the page. I repost it, and then I'm out. That's it. I'm just a terrible guy when it comes to engaging with people and stuff. That's why you never see me on Telegram and all these other platforms and whatnot. I just don't have the time. But, you know, if you got the time and you want to grow in a community, yeah, why not? Go to Twitter, go to Telegram, and you know, build your brand up and engage with people more and talk to them and participate some more. My level of participation is a little bit different because I don't got time on my hand. I had to do all these other things in my life. So that's why I mainly focus on the money that I'm bringing into crypto. How do I protect it? How do I preserve it? And how do I help people to the best of my ability? A little bit of knowledge that I have, I just share it with the people, and then I'm out. Humble Servant says, Exodus 3:15 tells you the name of the creator. Oh, okay, I don't know what Exodus 3:15. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, and Numbers. I think those were all the 5 first book of the Old Testament, which is dope. But yeah, if the name of the creator is Yahweh, that's like a Hebrew version of it. But Allah is there. If you go to Google right now and you type the name of God in Aramaic, that's what allegedly Jesus spoke, you'll be shocked. So Jesus and Muhammad, it's all the same God, but people just create confusions and whatnot. Like Trinity didn't exist really in the New Testament until the Council of Nicaea. In the year 325 CE or something like that. Some guy named Constantine, he was a Roman. It's ironic. And he's a direct descendant of Pontius Pilate. And Pontius Pilate, 200 years before that, he was the one who crucified Jesus. He took Jesus to the Roman king to get hanged on the cross. So you're telling me that you're taking Trinity, the lessons of Trinity, you're taking it from the same Romans that crucified Jesus? And who sold Jesus to the cross? It wasn't the Philistines and the Arabs and the Philistines. It was his people. Jesus said, I was only sent to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. That's what Jesus said. He wasn't sent to the Palestinians. He wasn't sent to anybody else, to the Africans. No, he said, I was only sent to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So he came to guide them, but they rejected him. That's why when he come back in the end of time, he's not going to go to Gaza. Jesus is not going to go to Gaza and kill more Palestinians and cause more trouble to them. Nah, he's going to go to the people he had unfinished business with because they hung him on the cross. They rejected him as the Messiah. The Muslims, they accept Jesus as the Messiah. This is the confusion, where the confusion starts. Just because somebody don't believe you are God, it doesn't mean they necessarily reject you. The Muslims don't reject Jesus. They love him. They think he's a prophet. They think he's a messenger. They still give him the same love and respect they give to Muhammad, they give to Moses, the same respect they give to David and Solomon and Joshua and Joseph and all of these great prophets that was mentioned in the Bible. It's the same level of respect. We just think they are humans like us and they were messengers. They were not God. You know, that's it. That's all they believe. But there's the other side now that you are supporting. They are telling you as a Christian that they're gonna spit on your face because they believe you an idolater. They believe you spit on what they're gonna spit on your face because they don't believe in Jesus. They don't like Jesus. And this is the demonic side that you are supporting. And you think Jesus Christ is gonna come back and go beef with some poor kid in Palestine or Sudan and Gaza? Nah, man. The people who hanged him, the people who let him down, that's the people he coming to get. He ain't coming to get no Muslim, boy. He ain't got no beef with Islam. Zen is alive and well. Annex said, Zen is an inflation game and GUI game. Yeah, it is. You just got to understand the mechanics and how that stuff works. I just like first principle crypto, and it's fair. It literally started from zero, bro. But the people that created it, they drifted off to fighting the very machine they were fighting against. Like centralization. You go and create a chain that's somewhat centralized, X1 blockchain, right? What else? Fair crypto. Think about it. It was gone against it. The founder was out there when Zen launched. He was preaching no VC funding. You know, no founders allocation, no VC funding, all of that other stuff. And now you're doing a complete 180 where you're controlling everything. It's like, yeah, go along with it, man. It is what it is, man. But you know, Zen as it stands is pure. People like it, but once you go and do a 180 now, don't come back and tell me you are about principles and that when you abandoned those views long time ago, you are a complete different person now. You are becoming the same machine that you ought to fight against. CI said Zoroaster, he said, it's all the same religion, Judaism, Christ, Islam. Yeah, it is. But you get that knowledge in the Freemasons. Yeah, well, the Masons technically they were what were they? Knights Templar. They emerged out of that group because the Knight Templar was split or something to that nature, and they became the Freemasons. But again, they were infiltrated by the same synagogue of Satan that Jesus Christ prophesies. Jesus said these people are the synagogue of Satan. They're gonna come in the end of times, and we are living in the end of times right now. And the synagogue of Satan are calling themselves a certain particular group of people that will call themselves a certain way, but they are not that way. They are the synagogue of Satan. And unfortunately, everywhere they cause facade and corruption in the land. Madly. Yeah, now shout out to Madly, man. Humble servant said, the laws, statutes, commandments, and statutes and commandments are not a religion. Yeah, the commandments of God are not. Religion is just like what modern day we use it to describe it. It's just a word, it's a term, but it really should be a universal law, like a way of God. That's it. Like us as human beings, we are flawed. We sin every day. You know, that's why. For me, Islam makes a lot of sense because Islam teaches me, hey, though you are a sinner, you are a terrible person, you're always sinning and stuff, at least try to pray and repent every day and say, God, forgive me if I done wrong to anybody, to myself, to others, if I done wrong to you. That's it. You ask for forgiveness. So the Muslims, when you wash your hands with water, it's to indicate right before prayer that if I touch evil, I apologize, I repent. If you wash your mouth 3 times and you spit it on the floor as a Muslim, it's like if I spoke evil, I apologize, I wasn't meant to do that. And then in the process of washing that, you're washing your face and your eyes. Just like Moses did before he went to Mount Sinai. God told him to take his shoes off and wash his hands and his feet. That's ablution. And you're washing your eyes because if you've seen evil, you say, I repent, I apologize. In this moment, my bad. And then you wash your ears. So if I heard evil, I apologize. And then you wash your feet. If I've been to a place of evil, I'm not supposed to go there, I apologize. This is what we do. You pray and you ask for forgiveness. That's it. Because we are sinners by nature. You can't stop sin in the world. We all sinners, bro. None of us is perfect. None of us is perfect. That's why I don't come here and give you like this perfect image of this godly nature. Sometimes I mess up because I know myself. I'm not perfect. So all I can do best is just to repent and beg for God's forgiveness. Hopefully we can enter his kingdom one day if we transcend. Leviticus 26:1 is that what? Do not bow down and worship before a smooth stone. Yeah, that's true. But we're not bowing down to stones in Mecca. This is the confusion where you get to start. I'm going to give you a story. Omar ibn al-Khattab is the second in command, third in command to the Prophet Muhammad. He was a beautiful soul and a spirit. Omar years after the Prophet passed away, Omar went to the Kaaba stone and he leaned down and he got to the point where you're talking about and he kissed the stone. Once he kissed the stone, he turned around and let the Sahabi know and the companions, he said, I'm not kissing this stone here because I'm worshiping. This stone is nothing. It has no power. This stone here that I'm kissing, it had no power, but I only kissed it because I seen my prophet walk around and he kissed it. Why? Because the Prophet Muhammad loved the land. Why? Because the Prophet Muhammad was kicked out of Mecca for 13 years. He was living in another place called Medina. So because he was living in Medina for a while, when he came back and conquered Mecca, he went and kissed that stone and he kissed the land because it's his childhood. What do you call it? Sometimes we do that too as Africans. When we go to Africa, soon as we touch the plane, we kiss the ground because it's the motherland. You have a deep connection to where you come from. That's all it is. The stone has no power. No power at all. We don't worship no black stone in Mecca, bro. You smoking bun. Yeah. Those stones here, they have no power because it doesn't make sense for the Prophet Muhammad to enter Mecca and break the idols. He broke the stones. He pushed everything else away. And then he's going to turn around and tell you to worship a stone? It doesn't make sense now. He told you to worship the Most High, the creator of the heavens and the earth. You know, the Quran told you to observe nature. The only book in the world that told you that plants and vegetation were created in pairs, male and female. Allah told you, don't you know, I made plants and trees and vegetation, I created them in pairs. I created them in pairs. They are male and female. You get it? And now science have just discovered that, 50 years ago? That actually there's a male tree and a female tree, and by the roots they mate. This is what Allah is teaching you. Allah is asking you to observe nature. The Quran is challenging your intellect. Udu ila sabili rabbika bil hikmah. Hikmah is knowledge. You use your intellect just to observe nature. Go in nature and just look at the mountains. Go in the middle of the ocean and realize how insignificant you are as a human being, how small you are. You know? If you realize that and observe nature and see the great creation of your Lord, he created all of that stuff. The miracle of Islam is really the Quran because you have to read it to understand. It's deep. You have to read it to understand it. You know, the Quran talks about tectonic plates. The Quran talks about the embryo, how it's created, the creation of the human being from the womb of the mother all the way till they come out. This is your Lord, the best of creators. So this is who Allah is challenging. He's not no stone worshipping or not. He's not, you can't make an image into him. That's why when Jesus, the first commandment, what he says, Shama Israelu Adonai Echad. Muhammad said, Qul huwallahu ahad. Jesus said Echad. Muhammad said Ahad. They both telling you the same thing. God is one. Jesus said, Hear, O Israel, the Lord, our Lord is one. Muhammad said Echad. Qul huwallahu ahad. It's the same. Echad and Ahad is the same thing. Why? Because they're sister languages. Aramaic that Jesus spoke and the Arabic that Muhammad spoke is the same thing. They both come from the same Abrahamic language. Abraham was from a city called Ur in Iraq. This is why a lot of people are getting that confusion from, but I believe it's the same God, bro. Same God, just different beliefs. The Christians, they went into extremes to the point where they said Jesus must be God and he's God and whatnot. The other side, they went into extremes and they rejected him completely. Islam is the only one that called both religions, said, come back together to the oneness of God, Tawheed. Deuteronomy 6:4, humble servant is still hitting me with that. And the Lord, our God, is one. Exactly, the Lord is one. He's always been one. Yeah, if you read the Quran, there's no satanic devil worship. There's none of that. It doesn't exist. When you read it, it's a beautiful tale stories about how nature was created. It's confusing, is it? If you think satanic devil worship, it's like Hollywood occultism and Molech and Baal and all of these. But all of these gods and entities, they were mentioned in the Quran as false gods. God said in the Quran, Baal is a false god. Allah said, do not worship the sun and do not worship the moon, rather worship the one who created them, and that's Allah, the best of creators. He created Jesus, he created Muhammad, he created all of these things that we existence, the heavens and the earth, the Lord of the heavens and the earth and that between. Anek said, what? Zen blocks will be on X1. Your wallet to the backpack wallet, and port your wallet to the backpack wallet, and you can play with Zen blocks and XNM testnet. I mean, that's another thing, man. Yeah, well, shout out to the Zen blocks people. I guess they're the only one that's gonna make money out of it. So good luck to them. Big up to them, because that seems to be more important than Zen itself. Zen blocks. That's the same thing that killed it. This is why I was going at the brother, because he was making live shows, you know, telling people that, yo, if you're not mining Zen blocks, you're not a real Zenian. We left you Zenians here. Zen is dead. All this other stuff. Only to find out the founder doesn't even care much about Zen blocks. He's giving, look at it, he's giving it to Jason and all these other devs so that people can port it to their backpack wallet and you can stake it and earn XNT. But it's nothing really Zen blocks did to benefit the ecosystem, to be honest. What did it, how did it help? At least Zen existed on EVM chains and people were able to burn it and it generated revenue. Some people made money off of it, some people didn't. That's first principles, who cares? But Zen blocks, come on, man. What did it do? Why? What did it do to benefit Zen? Nothing. And they getting a huge allocation, allegedly or whatever, to XNT. They're getting free XNT pretty much from mining some proof of work coins that didn't hit a single decentralized exchange while it existed. Nothing. They're just gonna port it to, it's like some free coins you're just giving away to people. Like, come on, man. Technologically, it's not plugged into X1 blockchain. You're gonna stake it and just earn some XNT. Humble Servant said, this New Testament is all about sun worship. Yeah, it's kind of scary, man. There's a lot of the stories in the New Testament. This is the reason why when I read, I always take the good, I leave the bad. I said, to the best of my knowledge, I don't know. My creator in the heavens and the earth and your creator, he knows. But certain stories, if it doesn't add up to me, it doesn't add up. Annex said, man, that Zen burn for the Grays currency on pulsechain out to be fat. Yeah, exactly, man. I was into TGZen early, so we got an airdrop on pulsechain and I was just playing with PTGC. So when PTGC went up for the first time, I sold some of it, but the rest of it, I just kept it. You can stake and do all these other things. The mechanics around PTGC, like that's alien technologies advanced. To be honest, that's what X1 really needs. Like DeFi, the DeFi players and whatnot, you need mechanics like that to be onboarded into X1. That kind of stuff would be dope because people in DeFi, they like it. But people over in Solana, they don't like DeFi. They don't know what decentralized finance is. They know going to pump that fund, meme projects and rubbish like that. That's all they know. They don't know DeFi. The Zenians that you left behind on these EVM chains, they know DeFi. That's why mechanics and contracts like PTGC, contracts like dbxen, stuff like Titanx and all this other stuff is advanced tech, it's advanced DeFi, and it's paying people yield and rewards as they're going. None of that stuff is ever built on Solana because Solana degens, they don't know that kind of stuff. That technology is alien to them. It's too far advanced to them. That's why I'm saying X1, if you're going to be leaving all of that stuff behind, your stuff is not going to work. So innovate and help it, because X1 is, in a way, is kind of better than a lot of blockchains. It's EVM, SVM / all of that stuff. But it has to work. You have to include the older devs that really did those great things. Incentivize them to come to your new chain and build some great things. The people would participate. The community would be back together. But if you keep playing separation, then you're going to be forever separated. See, I say, what's your statement on? Hey, I got no statement on those people, bro. I just let them do their thing. I'm just the old man that talk, man. CI on which, what is it? CI said what? Zen on which chain? Zen on old chains is Zen, bro. But some of the chains, because the like Evmos people, for example, the Zenians were collateral damage. They got left with nothing because they rebranded into another chain because they lost millions of dollars because of Zen existing on that chain. You know, and this is what I'm saying. Like, if you keep creating enemies like that, it's like the people that follow you are going to be collateral damage. So I like Zen on post chain. I like CB Zen. You know, I have a few trillies of that one. Not much, but yeah, a few trillies. CB Zen. I like OP Zen. I got a lot of OP Zen coming up all the way till March next year. I'm not even staking my OP Zen at the moment. I'm just accumulating some. Every now and then I go to the DEX and just scoop a few OP Zen. If it plays out, good. If it doesn't, we have other plays in life. Zen and X1 is not the only thing. The whole world doesn't revolve around that ecosystem. There's other things in crypto as well. I like. I don't have much Ethereum Zen, but yeah, that was about it. Optimism, base, post chain mainly. Yeah. Oh yeah, on Binance Zen. Binance Zen, I got wrecked with that one, man. I lost a lot. A lot of mints I had to let them die. So sometimes I go to Pancake Swap and I just buy some Binance Zen, just a little bit, like $1 or $2. You lose that, you're not gonna lose your sleep over it. We're purchasing them to, you know, wait for if there's burns or something like that in the future. But right now, sometimes what I do normally, I usually burn my stuff straight away. Like I just buy it, go to dbxen and just burn it there and earn some dxen. Yeah, I think dxen, man, with the NXD. dxen is a whole ecosystem within the Zen ecosystem. That's why I like talking about it, because I'm DeFi head, old school DeFi. So yeah, NXD, dxen, Q, mine Q.ai. No, Razvan is, a good dude, man. I just didn't like how they treated him. And if you keep doing your people like that and they do nothing wrong to you, but you keep doing them like that, it's not really nobody's gonna trust you in the future if they see what you've done to people in the past. There's a lot of stuff that went on. See, I said, so how did the Maya and the Aztecs knew about the planetary system without having optical lenses? Think about the arrival of the gods who came from the heaven. Bro, all of that stuff is just astrology stuff, bro. Because think about it, in the olden days, they didn't have clocks. So it's nothing surprising for the Mayans to know that kind of stuff. The Mayans, like in Africa, we studied that stuff from ancient Egypt. The pharaohs, the Nubians, the Nawabians, they used to align. If you study the pyramids, they aligned, each pyramid is pointing at a certain star. Study. Each pyramid is pointing at a certain star. So each star, they named it a name. So if certain star shows at a certain epoch, they know that this is the month of May, this is the month of June, this is the flower of May. This is all of that stuff from Western civilization. They took from Africa, bro. Because ancient knowledge, we already had it here. Al-Kebulan, bro, it's the Garden of Eden. We had all of this stuff before these motherfuckers came and take it. What they did, they just industrialized it. Like they modernized it. They made it a little bit more modern and advanced. To say the Aztecs, Mayan, Aztec potteries and Mayan calendar and all this other stuff. Africa had its own calendars. You see, when the Muslims came to Africa to convert the Africans to Muslims, the Muslims were shocked that the Africans knew Allah before even the Muslim gave them the Quran. Because the Muslims asked the Africans at the shore one story, and they said, your God, which God do you worship? What is your God? Is it like a stone? Because they thought because the Africans is a barbaric, he's a savage, he doesn't know. But God has already given the African intellect. He said, the Muslims is tricking the guy. The Muslim said to the African, is your God a tree? Africans say, no. Is your God the grass? What do you worship? The ocean? You worship the water? The Africans say, no. So Muslim said, which God you worship? African say, I worship the light. And the Muslim said, wow, you're right. Allah is the light. So there's a light in me and you. There's a light in all of us. If you see people, that's why I don't judge people. When I see them, I just see the light in them. I always try to look at the positive and not the negative into people, because there's a light in every single human being created on the planet, whether you believe in God or you don't, whether you're a sinner or you try to walk a righteous path, or you are in between. Sometimes you sin, sometimes you walk righteous path. That means at least you're trying, you're struggling. So that's what we was brought on the earth to do, to struggle and you know, try your best to live a righteous life. See, I said sin, haram. The modern word is just, we all make mistakes, and people nowadays are even more confused from media and so on. So they don't even know they are sinners or haram. 100% brainwash kids. Yeah, it's life, man. It's life. But, you know, we are in the age of Aquarius, the age of where people are waking up. That's why you see a lot of these Gen Zs, these younger kids now, they're doing the knowledge now, because it's the age of Aquarius. People are studying now. They're going back to ancient knowledge, you know? The Prophet Muhammad, I think there's a beautiful hadith where he prophesied this. He was talking about there would be a period where people are not going to study at all. They, like, knowledge will disappear in the world towards the end of times. And then there would be an epoch where knowledge would slowly come back into the life and people would be studying. Annex said, man, I got 100 million PTGC for $30 on ETH. Zenbond, it was worth 90K at one point. Exactly, man. Exactly. I didn't get the 90,000 worth, bro. I got like close to $10,000 worth, because I didn't have much TG Zen, but once I converted your thing and you got what you seen what you got over at pulsechain, and then it pumped. That's when I sold a few $1,000s and converted back into like PLS and whatnot. Because back then I was silly. That was a mistake too, because why would you speculate back to Ricky, knowing that Richard, he didn't do much with PLSX, that he didn't even pump. It went the opposite way. So yeah, I took some profit and some I put back into PLS. Whatever I put back into PLS is just sitting there like sitting ducks. But if you left it on PTGC too, it would have been okay, because the alien technology is great, man. But yeah, I did make some profit with PTGC though. But whatever I sold, that was good. And a quarter of it I converted back to PLS. Yeah. That's how I'll be moving in DeFi, man. If you make profit, you know, take some profits. There's nothing wrong with that. See, I said, what is kind of that real DeFi is not attractive for the guys who gamble their money away. Yeah, that Solana vibe is just, it's a bit like that. You know, it's a bit like that. It's like, well, the crypto game is like that. No, it's always had that gambling mindset. That's why I always fought with the principles. I always tell people crypto is not gambling, but the gambling aspects of it is what people are pushing that make us look like we're all just gamblers. But people in crypto, they hold stuff for a long time. Like when you want to talk about diamond hands, it's really us. I bought Electroneum in the ICO of 2017, November. I used to make shows and videos where I would show people live how much ETN I'm holding for like 7-8 years. You know, and I would show them the date and time of when I was buying that in 2017. So if someone holds an altcoin for 9 years and not much came out of it, that's a hodler. We don't just do the in and out thing. Now, you're talking to new people who come into crypto. They just quickly buy and sell looking for quick flips. Quick flips are good. Sometimes I do that too, but that's not all we do now. We do have long-term plays. You see, I said 2019 best DeFi. Yeah. 2019. If you wasn't here, you wouldn't have known what went on, bro. Shout out to arbitraging.co and yeah, proof of week math, proof of weak hands. I see dividends. Man, that's the first wave of DeFi. Yeah. Proof of weak hand. Proof of weak hands. They had 80,000 ETH was in the contract at one point, and at the time Ethereum was $80 per coin. Crazy, man. I remember buying BNB at $48 per BNB token, and this is why I rock with CZ. People think we don't buy coins just because we like the founder. Now that's BS. We buy coins because we're betting on the technology long term, what it's about to do, and how it's going to drag up the price with it. This is why we get that stuff. You know, CZ. A lot of people who bought BNB at $40 a pop, they made a big 2 years later in 2021 when BNB hit $600 for the first time. And upon seeing that, you just know. You know that these are the guys who are here long term and working and trying to help the ecosystem grow, crypto grow. You want to be with that kind of founder, not people who are destructive and always causing chaos and you know, just like digging dirt behind people, like what Sam Bankman-Fried and them used to do. SBF came to destroy. He became a destroyer. And that's the worst thing you could be. SBF was lobbying. He was paying Democrats millions of dollars. He came in the game in 2020, DeFi craze. He was jealous of CZ, so he decided to create his own centralized exchange, FTX. And to compete with CZ with the volumes and market making and all of this stuff, he didn't like that. So he wanted to do his own thing. So once he did that, he was lobbying behind the scenes. He was paying the Democrats for their elections, talking bad about CZ of Binance, that CZ need to get locked up. He was saying Charles Hoskinson need to get locked up, allegedly. He was doing a lot of dirt behind people, only for God to turn the tables on him because he came in the game wicked. So if you do wicked things to people behind the scenes and they're not doing nothing to you, even if they're just talking, but they're not doing any wicked things, you're digging dirt behind them. You're hacking behind people's lives. You're trying to make people's lives miserable. And you are lobbying and planning on people's downfall behind the scenes, doing the snakish stuff. It always going to fall back to your face. That's why I always tell people, don't fight it. Just let them do what they do to you. And then one day, the Most High would be in your defense. Bad stuff would happen to them instead of you. That's why I don't bother. Don't bother when people are doing that stuff behind your back and whatnot. Because you're not doing that behind us. You're at peace. You're waking up every day, you're praying, you're looking after your family, you're working, you're just trying to do things. This is what CZ of Binance, Charles Hoskinson and them were doing. They're just trying to build their community up and help their community up to the best of their way they're doing it. And 2022 FTX collapsed. Turns out he was the one, the bogus man. He was the fraudster. And he got in trouble and he went to jail because of that. Now, because of what he used to talk about CZ in the behind the scenes, that's why CZ said, okay, cool, I'm going to get you back for a minute now. Karma. CZ said, I'm buying FTT. And then people start rebuying the thing back up a little bit. CZ said, nah, psych, I'm dumping all this garbage. Forget you. You trying to talk behind my back. You trying to do this to me? Okay, let's flip the script on him. And that was a dope move from CZ. So CZ got 4 months in jail as a result of that kind of stuff. And now he's out now. He's a loose man with billions of dollars. He's not tied to Binance, but he's a great advisor. Yeah. You know, you bet on people like that long term, man. I think the BNB chain is going to be dope because CZ is looking at Richard Hart. He ain't going to do nothing yet. Ricky's waiting on Vitalik, and Vitalik doesn't care. He just likes extracting ETH and selling it and giving it to his girlfriend. Snake was a good call on Cardano you made. Hey, shout out to Annette X1, man. Shout out to you. Yeah, now Snake, when I see stuff like that, you know, I used to put that out in public like that. But, you know, now I do members videos. So, you know, sometimes, you know, when I have a little gem, I would put it on the members video first and then I'll give it. Snake, I was very early with it because I was deep in the Cardano trenches. I'm not really a Telegram guy. I was a Discord guy. So when I go to Discord, I have a lot of Discords. So Cardano Discord, all of the Cardano OGs were there, and we was talking about all these things. So because Cardano was a new chain, and Snake came on, and I was like, yo, why don't we Shiba Inu these guys? Because Cardano was like a serious blockchain. And us talking about it and putting the ideology over there, it got to the Snake boys, and they created Snake. And Snake just took off. Snake energy drink, all of these other great things. And I'm telling people, please, this is at 4 zeros, 3 zeros. Just put $50 in it, whatever, no financial advice, who cares? And then a year later, man, thousands of percentage is going up. There's another coin on Binance that I was talking about a year and a half ago, and it is up now 3,000% or something like that. I made a video about it on the members video. The members, they only pay like $1.99 a month. But it's just, I can't put stuff like that on public with the Binance chain and what's going on with it just yet. I want to see stuff play out first, and then we're going to come and celebrate together when it happens. I'm not going to be reckless like how I used to be like back in the days. Yeah, nah, but shout out to you, man. I'm glad you made a lot of money with my Snake call. Yeah, I made a lot of money with Snake, man. I'm still holding some. See, I said Hex is 15-year diamond hands, that the opposite of day trade gamble. I like that attitude. Yeah, Ricky, you know, he kind of messed it up though. He kind of messed up the HSI stakes and whatnot. But you know, one day the T-shares would come back into fruition if the Lord Pumpermental decided to do some great things with Hex. It'll come back alive again, because once people start seeing green candle, oh, it's moving, they're going to come back to it. Richard Hart is a genius all of a sudden again. But I think he's scared because of, he's not scared because of the legal stuff that he's facing. He's scared because of the taxing system. They know he collected billions of dollars. He's lucky he narrowly escaped in court. But he's worried that now if he goes back and pumps the chain and do all this stuff, the market making is what is scaring him. Because Ricky is not stupid, he's smart. He takes from the book of Roger Ver. If you remember in 2018, before he started Hex, he was sitting down with live shows with Roger Ver. The Bitcoin whales, they created Richard Hart and Hex. They just don't know it yet. Richard Hart used to be a huge Bitcoiner. He was in the space for a long time. People knew him. So Roger Ver told him, yo, I forked Bitcoin and created Bitcoin Cash, and I made a ton load of money with it. So you need to do something like that. Ricky said, all right, I'm going to create Hex. So he did. And because of what happened later to all the market makers in crypto, it's a pattern. You got to recognize, sometimes you do pattern recognition is good. It started with Arthur Hayes of BitMEX. 2018, he was the largest centralized exchange in there. He was competing with Binance and Coinbase. The market making thing, if you do it in crypto, in the stock market, they give you a pass. If you do it in crypto, you're a criminal, you're a bad guy, you're making fake volumes, you're creating all this other stuff, we got to lock you up. That's what happened to Arthur Hayes. He got in trouble because of BitMEX. Richard Hart is still learning, he's taking. Before, he used to call Arthur Hayes a scammer. Arthur Hayes is bad guy, bad, until Ricky learned from Arthur Hayes. Ricky started manipulating price and doing all this other thing with Hex, allegedly, because he learned from the best. He learned from the Arthur Hayes and whatnot with the market making thing. So doing that, though, Ricky was doing it behind the scenes because he got in trouble with Hex and all this other stuff. He's scared to do that with pulsechain after he took the sacrifices and what went on. So Arthur Hayes got in trouble because of market making and all this other stuff. CZ of Binance, market making. Binance is doing fake volume. Binance is allowing terrorist activities to come and trade on your centralized exchange, yada, yada, yada. It all goes back to that. Because when you make too much money on whatever business that you created in crypto, people start looking at you the wrong way. And by people, I don't mean us. We don't care as long as we're making money with it. But the authorities, the alphabet agencies are looking at you like you're market making now, and we don't like that. So they all got in trouble because of market making. Because when you're doing market making too much, if you're doing it for a good cause, pumpermentals, people making money, that's cool. But if you're doing it on If you go dark, they're going to call you a scammer. They're going to call you a criminal. They're going to say you're manipulating the market and all this other stuff. And that's what's dangerous about it. So, yeah. Richard just got spooked. P3D, he said. Crypto Yachty, good old times. Yeah, see how you know you was here. Crypto Yachty said, "Proof of weekends, I see dividends." Mudley said, "I had 1.5 billion Pepe for $150, sold for 750, and it went to the moon." Man, Mudley. Mudley, that's my boy, man. Mudley, you made a huge mistake. But I can't blame you, though. You know, there will be other opportunities, for real. Man, Snake. Yeah. Mudley, you would have been a millionaire just with Snake. Pepe alone. Yeah. Nah. There will be more opportunities. That's the beauty about crypto. Sometimes when stuff like that happen, bro, don't even worry about it. Mudley, you're gonna be all right. You're gonna Jason and degen people, they're gonna look after you. And I see the skulls you got on your thing too. And if not, you know, there are other plays on Binance. You just throw a couple bucks in there. You never know. I too on Snake. Yeah, Mudley knows the game, bro. Snake was a big call. Annex said you got the 6 months in jail as a founder and pay the taxes. CZ and Arthur Hayes blueprint. 6 months. And $1 to $2 billion fine and move on. Yeah, that's the problem though. I don't think Ricky will ever do that. He's not gonna surrender because Richard Hart, I heard stories about him. Like he's frugal, he's tight. Like he done some Mexicans took him to a restaurant, bro, and he made them pay for the bill. So Richard Hart is really, really tight. He's frugal. So because he's like that, I don't think he would want to give the government hundreds of millions and do what CZ did. CZ made $80 billion in the 2021 bull market, allegedly. So when the SEC knocked on the door and they got him into trouble, he's just like, how much? That's why CZ was doing this. 4. So he gave them $4 billion and he got 4 months in jail and he's got away scot-free. Now he's a free man with billions of dollars. He's free to do whatever he wants. They told him what he's allowed and what he's not allowed to do. And they told him you can't, like they freeze these assets in the centralized exchanges. This is why he's creating Asta and whatnot. Asta is not just some gambling perpetual bond garbage and stuff like that. He doesn't care about none of that. What he cares about is the self-custody. This is why he's pushing decentralized DEXs exchanges like Asta. This is why if you have a couple bucks, you might want to get a few Asta just in case, you know, something great happened with it in the future, because CZ understands the game now. You can't leave your money in centralized exchanges. They're going to freeze your funds. Why do you think Donald Trump is creating stable coins and all this other stuff? Because they froze Trump's assets. The Democrats did that. So now they're all learning now. They're all learning about decentralization and self-custody. This is why us in Zen and DeFi and whatnot, we are far advanced from these crypto guys. Yeah. See, I said it's okay for them as long as you make millions, but if you start making trillions, they don't like that. Exactly in crypto, if you start making a noise, like you started making millions of dollars and people in a massive scale, like what Richard Hart did, 2,000 millionaires documented with Hex, they get scared, like what Charles Hoskinson did. Cardano went from a penny to $3 quick within a span of a year. March 2020, Cardano was at a penny when Black Thursday happened and Bitcoin and the stock market collapsed because of the pandemic. But a year later, in September 21, Cardano was at $3. It's scary. People start looking at you the wrong way if you help poor people and people that don't have much. They only had a couple bucks to a couple $1,000s to their name, and you help them come up in a big way. It's a very scary. In crypto, it's hard to do, man. It's only a few people that did that in crypto history. A lot of people that attempted to try that, they're not even close. See, I said rank 201. You know the code. CZ is number 4. Yeah, exactly. He is, man. CZ is dope, man. He's yeah, nah. I knew, bro, because when I studied him, he gave people coin market cap in 2012. CoinMarketCap to this day is one of the best data analytical tools. Everybody who's new into crypto, as soon as you tell them about a coin, where do they go? They go to CoinMarketCap, bro, and look it up. It's a great data analytics tool, and it's free. People use it to this day. CZ gave that to the people. So no, we don't buy a coin because we like a founder. That's silly. We buy it because of the track record they put in work. They gave people certain stuff for free. They didn't charge people with the CoinMarketCap stuff, and that's the beauty about these guys, man. CZ was here for a long time grinding. That's why when these other influencers were saying Binance is gonna go down, I'm shorting BNB and all this other stuff, I'm like, you don't know. You've been in this game for too long and you don't know nothing. What you think CZ is gonna go away? He ain't going nowhere. Because there's no other industry besides crypto that made CZ $80 billion. Why do you think he's just gonna wake up and pull a SBF and collapse Binance and run away? Like what? Go where? Come on, man. You stay in the game. You go to the authorities. You run towards the fire and you fight them. And now you're free. That's the game. And even if today, if Binance collapsed the exchange, he's got nothing to do with it. Because they took him out. The SEC and them took him out of it. He's no longer the CEO of Binance. They forced him to step down. Even with Asta, he's not even the one building it. But he's just one of the great guys that are funding it. He's guiding those people, those young people. There's some young 22-year-old Asian devs. They are doing it. Yeah. You know why Nomics died? Nomic died because they ran out of funds to run the website. That's why. But Nomics was also good. Nomics was like a DeFi version of CoinMarketCap. I used to like Nomic. A lot of these coins from DeFi in 2022, 21, and whatnot that couldn't afford to be listed on CoinMarketCap, Nomics listed them for cheap. And people in DeFi used to go over there and check the charts and do all this other stuff. This is pre-Dex Screener, right? Before Dex Screener took off. I used to like Nomics. See, I said, you know why Uniswap is full of centralized finance? Because they sold their soul, that's why. Why do you think the OFAC compliance, you remember the OFAC compliance thing? Yeah. I heard they bought Uniswap or something. I don't know. They're controlling something of Uniswap. So Uniswap is not fully like a decentralized DEX like that because they in bed with those OFAC compliant guys. And to be OFAC compliant, I think they try to get MetaMask to do that too. They're gonna have to control your Web3 wallets now. And once that thing happens, our freedom is gone. The freedom to transact, the freedom to just exist in a realm where you control your own keys is gone. Because now they're going to be tracking your transactions and checking how much money is in your wallet and all this other stuff. You lose all of that freedom. Yeah, they really don't want real DeFi. Yeah, that's probably why they took Hex away. Ethereum Hex is delisted from Uniswap. Because they don't really like pure DeFi like that. I like DeFi in its purity where like you just have the freedom to transact, the freedom to exist, freedom of movement, stuff. Richard thinks I didn't know back then. Maybe else he would have pushed Sushi Swap more than Uniswap. Nah, he made the right choice though, CI, because we all got the Uniswap airdrop in 2020. I got 1,400 tokens in Uniswap because I was early doing I wasn't early into Hex, but I was doing other stuff, token sets and all this other stuff. So I had my early MetaMask. And Andre Cronje is the one that brought me into DeFi in 2020, really like go heavy. But I was into early DeFi, 2018, 2019 with the proof of weak hands and whatnot. I never had a MetaMask wallet. I had a My Ether wallet. So that My Ether wallet was replaced by MetaMask later on. And MetaMask in 2020, when Andre Cronje started the DeFi revolution on Ethereum, token sets, and all of this stuff dbxen and all these guys are doing, Andre Cronje was creating something similar to that, where people would just earn yield, because he didn't like the idea of people holding phantom coin and just speculating on the price and whatnot. He said, nah, bring your coins over here, stake them, do this, do that. He was doing it on Ethereum. Before the Phantom chain, he created Phantom. He was on Ethereum. He was the top dev on Ethereum, Andre Cronje, that South African fella. And he was such a genius. He was so early into the game. You know what Jason and them are doing with Matley and them to the degen and the dexes and whatnot? This is who Andre Cronje was in DeFi. That's why I call him the godfather of DeFi to this day. He never had a chain. He left because, again, market making, they got him into trouble. They spoofed him. And Andre Cronje, sometimes in 2021, he just said, I'm going to leave the space. I don't want to do DeFi anymore. So he kind of stepped back, and then when he came back, Phantom had took off. He already helped build the Phantom chain and whatnot. And then, you know, now he's doing Sonic and whatnot. But I knew Andre Cronje for like 6 years now, you know. Yeah, he's the GOAT, man. He's the OG. I give people their flowers and their props, bro, because I've seen the work they did. I used to do token sets. I used to do all of these other contracts on Ethereum before Uniswap took off in 2020, the DeFi craze. You know, and throughout 2020, Ethereum didn't really pop off like that. The coin that went off in 2020 was Chainlink. Chainlink was the GOAT in 2020. But oracles and whatnot, it was too advanced. It was too early. People didn't understand it. So we just bought a bunch of Link tokens, and it did well. But in 2021, Chainlink didn't do that well. A lot of other coins outperformed it. But when you want to talk about DeFi, the mechanics, and just being deep in the trenches and staking and earning and yield farming and all this other stuff, Andre Cronje brought that into the game with token sets. He was doing all of that stuff on Ethereum until he realized the gas fees are trash. So he said, I'm gonna help build Phantom. So he built his own chain. 400 per account. Yeah, that's it. We got 400 tokens. Yeah. 400, that's what I meant, not 1,400. Yeah, 400 uni tokens you got for free. And the price was at $2. The price was at $2 because I was DCAing into Cardano at the time. I sold like maybe about 50 coins of it, and the rest of it, I waited and waited and waited until sometime January or March 2021, I sold off the rest of the Uniswap, because by that time Uniswap was at $25, $30. And it ran up, it peaked in April, I think. It peaked at like $50 per uni token. And that was dope. The real thing which will create is worth only time, because energy you can manipulate, and ASIC power, but in time you cannot manipulate. Richard knew 369 Tesla Vortex math. He studied all of that, bro. I mean, bro, Richard had the menorah right next to him on his live shows. If you know, you know. Richard studied all of that stuff, bro. That's why he's trying to throw people off, you know, numerology. I don't really like numerology. I don't like numerology. Richard, you lying. You be lying, Ricky. You know about all this stuff, bro. Come on, man. I'm an 11 life path, boy. You can't lie to me. I told you, master number. The only people that can talk and I listen is the 22 life path, great builder, and a 33 life path, master builder. But if your sign is beneath an 11 now, come on, man. We can read you. The 11 life path, we have the ability to do that. We can read people because we got that charisma. You see, right now I got you here listening to me, even though you may or may not like it, but it's that charisma. We was born imprinted with that energy. It's the aura around us. It's power. Because we don't lie. 11 life path, we can't really be lying in that. We was put on this earth for like a purpose, to help people do certain things. So when an 11 speaks, you don't look to an 11 and said, you an 11, you doing this one bad, bad, bad. No, listen to the words he's saying. He's trying to help and benefit you. Don't worry about him. He's an old soul. X1 was going to be a fork of Phantom. Matley said, yeah, now it was going to be that, but then, you know, your favorite boy again pissed off the phantom devs somehow and caused them to shut down their chain and set up shop and go somewhere else, because they felt like your boy was just jacking their flow, and they didn't like that. You know, that's the thing. But, you know, it cost him a lot of money too. That's probably why he had to rebrand and go to Solana and whatnot. Yeah, like do the creative thing. You know, Cardano devs, what I like about them, they always do peer-reviewed scientific research. And they borrow concepts and ideology from the Polkadot devs, Gavin Anderson and them. The Polkadot boys are really smart, the smartest devs in crypto. That's why I know Polkadot is going to be great in the future. A lot of people are abandoning it, but, you know, it's going to come back. Polkadot devs are creative. They always build stuff from the ground up. And the Cardano devs are borrowing concept from Polkadot devs. And the Polkadot devs, sometimes they would take from Ouroboros, from Cardano, because they exchange ideas like that. For devs to do that is better for me than another dev coming in like, I'm the good guy, I just come into your ecosystem to do that. And then you just wind up taking their code and doing all this stuff to compete with them. You're going to scare them away. You don't move like that. You exchange ideas with them. You DM them. You become friends with them. And they help you read code. Sometimes you fix bugs on their stuff. Sometimes they fix bugs on your things. And then everybody would grow together like that. But you don't just walk into somebody's house and take their you take their mattress and trying to walk out the door. There's going to be some trouble. Yeah. See, I said that's why I think Hex ecosystem will be a revival. It could be. Richard had 10 years and time to learn. He is far ahead of time. Yeah, Richard is very intelligent, but he's a 9 life path. And 9 life path people, they're really good in crypto. And he's a goat, I think. Like he's he's got everything. The stars are aligned about him. There's an aura about Richard Hart that people just don't see. But I see the good in him, you know. People in DeFi, we was looked at as the savages. People didn't like people in DeFi. All they do was scam, pump and dumps. It's not pump and dump, but scam, because of the yield that DeFi people are earning was not a good thing. So they always looked down on him. And when he came into the game, so he decided to help those people. And he made a lot of millionaires with that. What Jack is doing is benefiting all. He does a real street set and is destroying everything, which is too weak. The important thing he knows as a former Google server. Yeah, that's the thing. The Google narrative, it's like, be a master builder in your own land, create your own land, and just be a good-natured person, man. If you're digging dirt behind people and you're destroying blockchains and you're doing all this stuff, nobody's really going to pay attention to your blockchain or even help you out like that, because you're taking pride in destroying blockchains with Zen and whatnot and say, now I'm just stress testing to see if their block spaces are good and whatnot. You're costing them millions of dollars just for them to rebrand and do all this stuff. Look at what Base people just did, the Base engineers. Last year, they complained about Zen on Base. And what they wind up doing this year is prop the blobs so bad to the point where the people who had Zentorians or not are going to be claiming at a loss or something to that nature. That's you not even caring about the Zenians that believe in your principles, and they are minting the chains and they're doing all this other stuff. They're going to be collateral damage now. They're going to get caught in the middle with that mess, and you don't even care. That's the problem. That's why I said, if you're moving callousness with your conscience like that, other people, these other communities and whatnot, they're not going to care what you got going on. The whole thing, you know what I fear? That one day they're going to attempt to shut this guy down, and whatever he's building, they will make sure it collapses somehow because of the shenanigans that he was up to. This is the only founder that came into crypto seeking just to destroy. to mess up everybody else's stuff and mess up people's blockchains. When you shouldn't have done it like that. When Zen first launched, all the communities embraced it. People even put it on their decentralized exchanges because it was so first principle. And the idea of it was just to knock on every blockchain's door and said, we are coming in peace. That's it. That's all you did. But if you shift the narrative and you're bragging about Zen taking up so much of their block spaces because people are minting it and all this other stuff, you shouldn't say that as a founder. You just, hey, make the peace with them. Even if they don't like Zen on their chain, that's cool. Make the peace with them. Don't laugh at them. Don't be cracking jokes about them and telling them, haha, your technology is trash, is this, is that. Because Zenians could have benefited. They could use the people from Evmos. Those people could have come on to X1 blockchain. That's how you recruit them. You bring them over to you, but you don't bring them over to you by telling them your chain is shit, your this is that. They are Evmos maxis. They are CB Zen, Xenon base. They are base maxis. How are you going to just do on their stuff and you expect them to come to you now? Because you have the better thing. But your better thing, they're not going to be fully embracing it because the devs are pissed off. And if a dev is pissed off, they're going to tell other devs. And the other devs are going to look at you as a reputation. If you look at last year, what Andre Cronje and them was writing on Twitter about this dude, then you know Andre Cronje, if he's sitting down with other devs or somewhere else, you're giving yourself a bad name as a founder. That's what I don't like. I don't like stuff like that because people don't badmouth Charles Hoskinson like that. They don't even badmouth, some of these other founders like that, like CZ and them, because they don't move like that. They don't go to other blockchains and just implant some projects there and just to destroy them and then brag about it openly. Like, come on, man. You embrace them. We know Zen is over there. It's taking over their block spaces, but use a different method of approaching them and bringing them over. That's what first principle is. All is welcome. OG, seasoned OG, all newbies, all welcome. Come and mint these tokens, you know? See, I said, the only thing I don't like about Richard is when he said, bring me your girl. That's kind of disgusting. Yeah, you know, he's just trying to talk. All these guys are busy. Man, I don't build like that, bro. Man, Richard ain't got no girl like that. Yeah. Ain't no player. Real dogs smell blood, you know. Real players understand the game. What's understood don't need to be said. You don't talk about that. Shh. Real players, real G's. You know, you don't brag about girls and look at my girls. I had so many girls and that. You keep that on the hush hush, low. That's a real player. That's how I know Richard Hart and all that. He's a bunch of nerds just trying to show off. Man, you keep that stuff in the secret, man. Go live your life. People don't care about that. In crypto, people come in crypto to make money. They don't care about your personal life and what you're going through and none of that. Man, these people ain't no players. Richard ain't no player, bro. He's just bragging. The only thing I don't like about Richard, that's like you know, every group of men, you see the one that go kiss and tell and stuff like that. Yeah, they're like one of them ones, trying to be the loudest one in the crew. Yak is teaching, that's not the only TG Zen token is important, but the environment around Zen. He needs to mess things up. He needs to know what we're just saying you cannot build. Important work. Yeah, it is, but the way he went about it is wrong. You don't, like right now, you're giving yourself a reputation of the blockchain destroyer. You're just destroying stuff. And that's not the right approach to take. You could have studied all of these things behind the scenes, you know? You could have done that and then bring your community up and teach them how to do all these things so they know. Like, but the way he went about it, there's a lot of unnecessary stuff that he did in the way. And that's the problem. Like, VMPX didn't need to exist, you know? Like, I get it, people like ordinals and whatnot, but you going on online and bragging about blocking a 15-year-old kid from transacting, you know? When that stuff happened, that VMPX stuff happened, I was watching live, and I seen a kid on CNBC News from El Salvador who was a farmer, and his mother was half blind, and she was a very frail old lady, and he was almost crying. He said, you know, the Bitcoin stuff is, I'm only make about $30 a day. I can't transact today because the transactions have jumped up to $95. He said, I have to wait for tomorrow, and hopefully the Bitcoin blockchain will come down and the transaction fees will go low again so I can feed my mother. And you going on spaces and going live saying, I'm the one that destroyed Bitcoin blockchain because we put ordinals on there and VMPX and people couldn't transact for a day. That's nothing to brag about. That's just like, it's like weird movements like that is the reason why people are looking at you sideways like, yo, are you the good guy here, or you just here to destroy? Like, that's the problem. It's like you gotta move righteous, man. You gotta move right. At least try. Need to know where to stay long term in exploring the minefield. Yeah, long term, if you're gonna be a founder in crypto, don't launch a whole bunch of unnecessary shit coins. Don't create projects, then just abandon them and drift over to someone else. This is why people are calling him bait and switch and all this other stuff. I'm not familiar with those terms, but if you look it up, the writings are on the wall. It's pretty much similar thing, that how you move. Imagine if Charles Hoskinson was building Cardano, but then he just abandons Cardano. In the process of building it, he just moves over to Ethereum and launches a shitcoin there. And then he abandons it and goes over to Binance Smart Chain and put another project over there. You're messing up your reputation, and crypto is this fickle. If people move away from your stuff, usually they don't tend to come back. That's the problem. So you need to like walk the crypto straight path, but you're surrounded by people who are just a bunch of yes men that anything you do, they just enablers. And this is why I was going off at the bro, because that's what he does. He just romanticizing anything Jack does. Is almost like, yeah, it's so beautiful, boy. It's perfect. This is tech 2.0. But you just romanticizing the thing. So less romanticizing and enough, like, be the real friend that you're supposed to be, and tell your OG, yo, man, tell your homie, yo, man, you messed up. You might not want to do this. This is not right. This is the world that we're living. Just being real with each other and being kind to each other and like that. But when you do that, they look at you like some kind of fodder and all this other. Man, I don't care about fudding. None care about that. Man, them are living their lives over here. We don't care about fudding your project, bro. You can hear that. I don't want to be the main character in your show, bro. That's been you for a long time. You're the only one that been doing the glazing thing and all this other stuff. That's your prerogative. I don't go to communities just to be the main character. Man, what do I get out of that? You know, just be real. Be real. Be authentic. Don't let allocations be the reason why you just be glazing people and just rubbing their back, trying to sweeten them so they can give you some sweets. Come on, man. Like, you lose your integrity after that. That's what I question some of these mandem's integrity, because of how they move, you know? Romanticizing blockchain is not going to make you money. That's why you lost money in dbxen, because in April of 23, when dbxen went to $90, you was jumping on live shows telling people that, yo, the technology is so robust, man. It is so great. We have to stake dbxen for long term and do all this other stuff. And you didn't know how to play DeFi. People in DeFi, yeah, they earn yield. They do all of these mechanics behind the scenes. But occasionally, if price pumps, they take profit. That's what happened. That's what they did with Zen. That's what they did with dbxen. They were minting it. They were staking it. They were holding. So when it went up, they sold. You can't really blame them, because you was busy romanticizing about technology again. You always make that mistake. Same thing, September 23, when ZenBlocks came out, same thing, same mistake. All of a sudden, the Zenians that are minting OPZen and CBZen and all this stuff, they're the bad guys now. We don't want to be you. We don't want to be around you. We are high intellectual, high level only, high level. You were busy mining ZenBlocks. For a whole year and a half, you're telling people that the only way to XNT is ZenBlocks. Zen is dead, Zen is dead, Zen is dead. And all of a sudden, you want to rush back into OPZen when you realize you could have minted it all the time. Back then, it was only guys like us, me, that was making videos reminding people, hey, the OP-Zen AMP is 200 days left. You might want to look into it, while he was busy telling people Zen blocks is the only thing there, when people wasn't making money into Zen blocks. You see what I'm saying? You're busy speculating. You're busy romanticizing blockchains. And that's not the way, to me. That's not the only way. So glazing blockchains and just looking at the technology, you deep in the trenches, you understand how the blockchain work and all these mechanics. People don't make money with that. You're just busy glorifying when the game was being played the whole time. So now, dude was busy playing catch up. Oh, I gotta go create mintzen.com now to mint OP-Zen at peanuts. At literally the AMP is at 1. You're getting like what, $1 million per mint or something, per max mint, and you wanna put them together and batch mint them and all this other stuff. All this stuff that you're doing because you missed out. When we was busy telling people, yo, you might want to mint OP-Zen, we was bullish on the chain. You wasn't. You try to front run people and deck them. When you find out later, your founder doesn't care. He doesn't know what to do with Zen blocks right now. That's why he's passing it over to the Jason and all these other devs so they can do something to help you guys. When you could have listened to the original Zenians the whole time, we was minting. CB Zen and whatnot. Ninjas just come back and try to take over, and you got it, boy. So you, what is that? We need to know about all weaknesses, and he's creating a lot of chaos. Yeah. Builders are glad he is stress testing everything. You will understand in some years. Just observe. He is saving us a lot of time so we can leave weak bad code sooner. Yeah, if that happens in the future and he built a better blockchain, Nakamoto's wrong. I'll come in here. I'll be admitting that, bro. I'll be like, hey, cool, man. Jack is a genius. Next level stuff. But what I see is, because you're stress testing so many codes, something about it just might be an epic failure, and it's like it's gonna cost people a lot of money. And you need to also consider that type of stuff. That's why it's like, you gotta be cautious too. Because you just never know. But you stress tested 12 different blockchains. You talk smack about them. You told everybody that that's rubbish, is garbage, all of those chains are this. My chain is the top goat now. Now your chain need to be number 1. Go past Binance Smart Chain. I'm not even talking about Solana. You know where XRP is sitting right now? That's where X1 blockchain should sit. I don't want to hear about none of that, because you were smack talking all of these other chains. So now we need to see a technology in X1 that we have never seen before. And we need to see the volumes that we have never seen before. We need to see what Pump That Fun and all these great things are doing on every these most popular chains. Everything they're doing, we need to see it times 10. And then people are going to be like, all right, man, maybe he was right. He does have the better blockchain. Because that's how you bring the people over. But having just the best blockchain is not going to be enough. You need to be able to bring everybody in there. But I don't see it right now on testnet. Blast is a garbage layer 2. It had billions of dollars locked in there on testnet. Sonic, billions of dollars on testnet. A lot of devs, hundreds of devs were building on it. They were storming in there and running. But answer this question. Where are the builders on X1 though? Only Jason and a few other people in the community trying to do stuff? Nah, man. Where the big boys at? Where the pulsechain people at? Your friend saw me and them's people. Not just pulsechain and hexicans, but you on Solana, you glazing Anatoly. So where is Anatoly's people and his billions? You mean to tell me none of Anatoly's people and devs heard about X1? I'm not talking about some repost and retweet and like you trying to fanboying him just to get his attention. I'm talking about Anatoly's people, the Solana people. Where are they? Where are the Solana builders? How come they're not bullish on X1? Wake up, people. Ask yourself this question. Nakamoto is not the problem here. I hope you understand what I'm trying to explain. Bad English, not a native speaker. Hey, bro, all of us was born not speaking English, bro. We're just trying, bro. I'm more fluent in French. A lot of people don't know that. But, you know, I just speak English now because, yeah. Mr. Zuni! That's my brother, man. I like Mr. Zuni. Mr. Zuni, that's my people, man. Mr. Zuni be DMing me. You know, I be going back and forth with Mr. Zuni. Mr. Zuni is deep in the trenches. Mr. Zuni is the one who told me about Bonk Inu in December of 2022. I'm at a live show and Mr. Zuni just come right randomly. Bro, Solana's brewing up. People don't know what they're talking about. Solana's at $12. Nak, get Bonk Inu. Mr. Zuni was telling me. And I just bought a $50 worth of a little bit in there. And then a few months later, the rest is history. It was almost worth $10,000. So shout out to Mr. Zuni, man. Mr. Zuni hit you up with some small gems. That's why when people like Mr. Zuni, they come up to you with some gems, always look them up. Don't dismiss those things because it could be a blessing in disguise, man. Mr. Zuni, great dude, man. That's my people right there. See, I said, reap what? Richard Good Cop, Jack Bad Cop. You have two first principle guys with different ways to get there. Richie wants to build it himself. Jack wants to be created by anyone. Yeah, Jack. Yeah. They just had different visions and whatnot. But yeah, hopefully, you know, they can both, or one of them can take people to Valhalla. That's all you can do, man, because the people don't deserve this, to be honest. Like, realistically talking, but people are not bad, man. All the people all over the world are just going through a lot. The economies are messed up and everything, and they just want to thrive into crypto. That's why a lot of us are into the crypto game, to be able to help each other, help our families come up. People are not bad, man. Mr. Zuni! Yeah, man, Mr. Zuni, that's my people. Yeah, shout out Mudley, Mr. Zuni. These are old people, OGs in the game. They you know, they've been supporting my channel for many, many years. Yeah. No, it's like this cycle is just, we didn't expect it to play out the way it did because America's broke. America has no money left. Trump is trying to push Jerome Powell to print more, but if he does, the inflation is going to go up to the roof. About a year or two from now, you might experience the greatest financial collapse America has ever seen. So there's a lack of money, not just in the United States of America, but all over the globe. So crypto need to branch off of that. But unfortunately, you can't, because crypto is tied with fiat. And if there's a lack of fiat, well, there's a lack of investors because people are struggling. People rather buy eggs than buy a meme coin. People rather buy groceries and just to survive rather than coming into DeFi and play. That's what's going on. Retail has left. People always say, oh, retail is here. Retail is not here. Retail gone. Retail trying to survive. Retail waiting for stimulus check. Mr. Zuni said, I'm so excited for the few months to come. It's going to come easier. Yeah, hopefully before December, we see something at least. It usually happens, you know, with the 4-year cycle and thing. But hopefully that thing is not broken. CI said, what do you think? War will escalate with Russia soon? Or in 2.5 or 4 years? Well, between now and 2030, something major might happen. There may be a shift. That's what I see. And I've been teaching people, you know, to prepare emergency, like in the real world. Get ready, man. Even if you go to the supermarket, buy a little bit more bags of water, buy some more eggs, buy some more of the foods that are long lasting, like a turkey bag or some meat that you know is going to last long, and put it deep in the bottom of your freezer so that your family, the kids, are not going to get to it, and just keep buying them what they want and whatnot. But save. Try to buy some more food and water that is not contaminated, and bottles of water, good, and you can store it in your cupboards. And just do that, please, people, because you never know. Because one day you're gonna need to get out of the big cities. So if you make it in crypto, you need to get out of the big cities. New York, Chicago, LA, San Francisco, or whatever, California, and all of these major cities, get out of them. Go try your best to move into the countryside. If you make $100,000, $1 million in crypto or whatever, get out of the big cities, go buy some farmland or whatever, and get away from them, and learn how to grow your own food and how to survive. Because if something major and apocalyptic like that happen, usually people in the big cities, a big city with 1 million people or more cannot feed itself. It has to go get its food supply from the outside sources. That's why when the pandemic happened, there was a shortage of toilet paper, eggs, and a lot of these foods. People realized the supermarkets, they don't have enough. The big grocery stores, they don't have enough. They're waiting for the groceries to come from outside and feed the city. And if there's a blockade and there's no more food coming into the city, there's going to be a great famine and starvation. People are going to lose their jobs. People are going to be hungry and homeless and in the streets, and a lot of bad stuff is going to happen. So emergency preparedness is also very important in the game. You need to pay attention to what's going on, people. You have your family members to look after that are sick. You have your people to take care of that are disabled. All of that stuff you need to think about in the account and think about your future. That's why we are in crypto. That's why people are trying to make it into crypto, so that they won't have some of these problems in the future. If you live in the mountains, in the bushes, you're safe. But if you're living in a big city, everybody's trying to get out of the big city. You're stuck. Each one to, it's like each one to get one or something like that. It's free for all. And you're going to be caught in the middle as collateral damage. So nuclear weapons and all this other stuff is going to target the major cities first. Even if, like natural disasters, the calamities and that, if it targets a big city, a lot of people are going to unfortunately perish. And you don't want that kind of stuff, man. Get ready, people. Get ready. For the next 5 years, you need to do something. Mr. Zuni said, year of the snake is crazy though. Yeah, it is. I knew, bro. The snake just represents completion, the 9th cycle where everything is complete now. And it'll fool you. Like the year of the snake, throughout this year, it looks like Bitcoin's going to pump. Nope. It stopped and it reverses, come back. That's the year of the snake. It looks like Ethereum is moving. Finally, ETH is doing X, Y, and Z. Nope. It drops again. So that's the year of the snake. Illuminated said, yo, my boy Nakamoto, been watching you since 2023. Hey, shout out to you, man. Welcome to the live. I'm about to get off soon though, but yeah, man. Shout out to Illuminated, man. See, you never know who's watching you. Hey, people been watching for 2 years now, for many years. Illuminated said, Trevon gave you a big shout out for Snake on Cardano. Trevon gave me a shout out. When was that? Yeah, shout out to Trevon, man. Trevon is an OG in the game, man. I always got mad respect for him, I got respect for Trevon, man. Shout out to Trey, because him and the likes of CG, they paved the way for us. When I came into crypto in 2017, I came across a video with a young man named Trevon James, and he was talking about Bitcoin hit $1,000 for the first time, and he was doing BitConnect, and it was him and many other people, influencers. Some of them I forgot their names, but they were talking about BCC and whatnot and staking yield. So early DeFi was really people like Trevon that introduced it to the game. And they gave it to people because I was just buying Bitcoin and holding it. I was like, why not put some of it into BitConnect and earn some daily rewards? It's not 1% a day, but sometimes it's 1%, sometimes 0.8, 0.5%. And it was dope. It was working. So that led me to Laser Online and Hexabot and HextraCoin. I remember Davor Coin, right after BitConnect collapsed, Davor Coin came up. Some French guy started it, and it worked for a little bit. And Hexabot was going for a little bit. Regal Coin, if you remember Regal Coin, I was into that too. And I after that, I think Trayvon and them moved over to P3D, and the first smart contracts came, and the rest was history, man. But Trayvon is dope, man. He really deserves all the praises because people don't give him enough credit. But he paved the way for a lot of guys that came into the game early. Yeah, man. Trayvon is dope, man. Yeah. Before you go, what is your price target for DXN and Zen? Yeah, peace, brother. Much love. Yeah, much love to you, Illuminated. DXN, I made a video about it a couple of days ago. I think it might reach $200 because of the mechanics Razvan has put around dbxen with mindq.ai tied to it, and NXD tied to it. A lot of people seen NXD suddenly jump to like $6 the other day, and then people are like, whoa, yeah, the mechanics are like that. So NXD already locked in 500,000 dbxen tokens, and there's only 5 million. This is on ETH. If you calculate it, there's only what, 4.5 million, and out of that, a lot of it is staked, and a little portion of it is only on the dexes is moving. If a big buy, major buy comes in, that's it. Is they're gonna snatch all the dbxen, and we're gonna go to Valhalla. So dbxen is really designed like Bitcoin. It's gonna like take off like crazy, but it will be a surprise pump. And as long as what I do with DXN, I just buy a few from the DEX and I just take it, because sometimes burning Zen for dbxen is not really, you're not gonna get enough the DXN amount that you want. So I buy it from the DEX and I just take it. And yeah, that's a dope thing to do, man. It's a beautiful mechanic, and you earn some rewards. So people are participating as well. So the burners are very important for dbxen. The stakers are very important for dbxen. With the upcoming of X1, it could be something, you know, you never know. I like DeFi, bro. I like DeFi. I think DeFi is the future, really, decentralized finance. And yeah, where this thing is headed is really dope. Though Naka, I've been looking for those coins that have just kept going down, like Supra. There's a lot of gaming coins. I'm betting that these coins could be where big X's like Sol and whatnot life cycle. Yeah, Supra, man. I haven't looked into Supra, but man, yeah. There's a lot of new chains that are brewing, bro. Mr. Zuni, Sui, Supra. Yeah, they can be like they can create the surprise, you know, and to see what Sui did. Sui can still be top 10. I think the likes of Cardano could drop out of the top 10 and Sui come up to top 10. But for Cardano to come back to claim his place of glory, we need something major. See, I said BCC showed and teached people that you need to care about the blockchain and the code. Yeah. Smart contracts and fundamentals and pumpermentals. Yeah, all of that stuff is important, man. Because people didn't understand all of that stuff. It was early. It was too early. That's why the BitConnect thing was like they pushed it to collapse and whatnot. But BitConnect was doing it with Bitcoin too. Think about that. Bitcoin at 20,000. BCC was top 10 or top 20 at one point. It ran up to $400 a token. I remember that in January 2018. It was crazy because people was staking it and just earning Bitcoin as a payment in rewards every day. Every day, BitConnect paid you, man. And Proof of Weekend took inspiration from BitConnect, and 80,000 Ethereum flew into Proof of Weekends. It was 10 in, 10 out, 10% in, 10% out transactions, right? Proof of weak hands, because the weakest hands they lose, the strongest hands they earn, you know. So BitConnect inspired Proof of Weak Hands. Proof of Weak Hands inspired Hex. Yeah, man. And before Hex, there was Tron Chain. You know, Justin Sun, shout out to him, and Tron Chain and whatnot. And yeah, there's a lot of great things that happen in DeFi, man. People just didn't understand those things because it was in its infancies. It was early. Statements on the immutable contracts. deactivated admin keys, trustlessness, and how important is that quality for you? Yeah, yeah. It is somewhat important, especially for the newbies that are coming into crypto. I mean, look, another wallet just got hacked. I think it was Trust Wallet or something. People lost a ton load of money on centralized exchanges. There was people that went over to MEXE, and they just got into crypto. They know nothing about it, and they were silly enough to give some guy $700,000 or something. His mortgage. Somebody told him about crypto. He went over to MEXE and he locked in 750K because nobody taught him about MetaMask and self-custodying your wallets and whatnot. And now MEXE is refusing to refund the guy, allegedly. So he's mad. You know, don't give your money to centralized exchanges, bro. I know I'll be preaching Binance and all this other stuff, but I'm not talking about Binance, the centralized exchange. I'm talking about PancakeSwap, Binance Smart Chain. This is where we are, in the trenches, you know? So yeah, man. Where you from? In America, in China, in Japan? I'm in the Antarctica. Nah, I'm just playing, man. Ethiopia is in the chat. Yeah, shout out to you, man. Shout out to Carlos Matos. Big connect. Yeah, that guy's legend, man. I think he should have NFT'd his stuff and just like do that. We love the trenches. Yeah, now we are in the trenches. DeFi is much more advanced. All of this garbage, people doing meme coin. You know, sometimes we do meme coin, pump and dumps and whatnot. But for me, DeFi is the end all be all. It's where people don't really care about price. It's where people don't really, like what we're doing now, waiting on the bull market and whatnot. DeFi, people don't care. They're just earning their rewards. As long as you give them something to play with, they would stake their money there. And just it gives them driplets. They don't care if it's $50 a day, they make $100 or $20 a day or whatever. It's DeFi. Because then they don't have to wait on no bull market. Occasionally, if it pumps, yeah, they would sell. But if you give them mechanics to work with, they would participate. And that's what keeps blockchain alive. Because if they participate, they are transacting. And if they are transacting, the validators are earning. And the chain is very much alive. That's why I said you need to encourage all of that stuff. But people just like dismissing that kind of stuff because they don't understand the game. Everybody's important. But, you know, people just... Mrs. Zuni said, Nada, did you check out the game Addicted? Yeah, man. I was looking at it. I was like, You know, strong blocks, if you remember, it reminding me of those ones right there. It's basically a Ponzi game and crazy thing that Solana retweeted it. Love me a Ponzi. Mr. Zuni is always early into those. You never know, though. You never know, man. It can take off. And if it does take off, man, people are going to make a lot of money with it. Which wallet you like most? CI says running with MetaMask and others. I like I like MetaMask. I like Rabi and the Trust Wallet. I used to like, and they had something happen with them the other day. I was like, man, I gotta get out of here. So I moved all of my money from the Trust Wallet, and I moved into these other decentralized wallets. DeFi is still final destination. Yeah, bro, 100%. It is. Give me my yield and I'm good. Exactly. We ain't waiting on no token like that, bro. We used to do that years ago, but you know, the waiting on the token thing, altcoins to pump, that ain't crypto to me. That's why I refuse to believe crypto is gambling. I was like, if you're playing DeFi, you're earning rewards. You don't really care about that stuff. As long as you're earning your yield and you're participating on the blockchain, that's what matters, because you're keeping the blockchain alive. You're feeding everybody and you're feeding yourself. That's how you create a loophole system where people don't just hold tokens and speculate in it. You create a loophole ecosystem like dbxen and all these other great things, so people can earn and participate, and they can stake their tokens, they can burn it, they can do all these great things. They're clicking buttons every day, and as long as they're clicking, they are transacting, and your validators are winning. Everybody's happy. You need to create mechanics around that stuff and not just meme coins. A lot of people, that's the same thing with the X1 stuff. A lot of people are planning to just go over there and dump meme coins on the on X1 and that's it. Like, come on, man. Be creative. I'm gonna say, yep, give me my yield and I'm good. See, I said, do you like hex perpetuals from Tanto and Nomini? Maximus is still alive? DCI, Lucky Trio, Base, saving gas fees. Yeah, all of those things are just early systems that here's the thing about crypto now. We have everything in place to be great, but it's just at the wrong time. Meaning there's no money in crypto. There's no money in traditional finance. People are just speculating. And that's the problem. If there was some real bread like the BlackRocks and that, if they looked into DeFi, man, we're gonna be taking off like crazy. That's why we need meme coins to pump. We need altcoins to take off first from the Larry Finks and them's money. And then that money is going to trickle into DeFi. That's when you're going to see everything that we've been involved into and talking about to go up. Rabbi wallet is top tier. Yeah, I like Rabbi. DeFi is a safe haven. Yeah, it is. It is. But people just like to point Larry Fink and them to the wrong direction, man. You need to point them to the right direction so they can, yeah. Because imagine what we're doing in a small scale, institutions are doing it in a large scale in terms of DeFi. If they find out that you can earn yield and earn reward and create these, as long as you're creating volume in a liquidity pool, the liquidity pool is very much alive. People can't take all of it out, but they can take a little bit out and, you know, like keep the system alive for as long as you can. People are going to make millions from it. But the real technology is decentralized finance, and it's the micro within the macro environment, and it's not going to be discovered until a chain comes out there new and puts all of this on the map and goes and gets those institutional adoption people to come in and look at it and say, maybe I can put my money in here. We need a Michael Saylor in DeFi. We need a Larry Fink in DeFi. We need all of these billionaires and millionaires in DeFi, man. We don't just need the whales. Eliminated said when BTC dominance goes to 56%, altcoin season is for real. Yeah, when the Bitcoin dominance drops, that's when you always see altcoin season happen. But this time around, I just lost hope in it because of what's been going on. It's all over the world. You can't really blame crypto, but yeah, man. It seems like we just being punished and squeezed. So we need to find an alternative somehow. It seemed like BTC in 2013. You remember back then when they yelled scam all day long, and people are really bought patience. Yeah, now you're right. You're right. CI, you on point, boy. Just take and chill. You never know, man. I think Hex could go back up to like 55 cents if Richard decided to get off his scary tactics and just like exist, just be, man. So what? They coming after you. You don't want to pay taxes that bad? I mean, CZ gave them $4 billion. You only earned $1.6 billion, bro. If you take them 100, if you give them 100 million out of that, you okay. They'll leave you alone, and then you can resume to do what you do best. What places in the world would you go to for a single man with $500,000 cash? Don't go to any place where there's a lot of girls who are money hungry if you have $500,000 in cash. What I would suggest for you to do is go to a remote, not an island, but go to a remote country where the money is not that expensive and 500,000 can go a long way with you. Buy a little bit of plot of land and start a business there. Build your business up to 1.5 million, $2 million net worth. And then you can get married as a single man. You said you were a single man. Then you can get married and have your children and pass that land over to your children. That's all you can do in this life. You can't just go to Bali and splash that 500 over. You're going to have a lot of girlfriends and nothing to show for it. You know, that's not a way to live, you know. So try to do it the righteous way. Yeah. If you find, like, research the great places where you can actually go to and build it. Buy land first. $150,000, $200,000 can get you a beautiful plot of land, and learn businesses, and spend some of the rest of the money into building a beautiful business that's generating you cash flow, and build that business up to a lot of money. And then, yeah, you move like that. But don't just spend that 500K as a single man. You're dangerous. You're just a fool and his money walking around. Them chicks gonna take it out of your hands quick. They don't play. They try and change their life. Don't go to no Brazil or none of these other places, man. Go to a country where you can buy cheap farmland. People are not ready. See, I said, I like 2 wives and 6 girlfriends. Eliminate it, man. Woman will get you in trouble, man. You need to chill out. If you have 1 or 2, you're all right. But man, don't be getting those 6 girlfriends and 2 wives. That's a lot of trouble, bro. Yeah, I got some degen. Yeah, illuminated. Yeah, big up to you, man. You need to learn about degens. I think if you speak to Muttley, illuminated, Muttley will help you with the degen stuff. The degen people are good, man. That's why I was kind of pissed off when those people did what they did to them. I was like, man, these people, nobody's talking about your chain. Nobody's doing nothing for you. These degen people are just trying to help. They're trying to, push the narrative out there to bring the Solana boys over, because they're not coming into X1. And you're not bringing them over there. So why are you building some KJP and all of this other stuff, man? It's not necessary. You're just trying to compete. You're creating competition where it doesn't belong. Everybody can win together if you push certain narratives like that and just let them shine, man. But, jealousy and all this stuff, it's always in crypto, man. It's not, I don't like communities that are like that. It's like, no one's going to help you if you behave like that. See, I said, you need scare tactics. Remember, BTC dropped top dollar straight back to the bottom, 90% crash. Rest is history. How many times did BTC made 80% crash? And look at the charts. Yeah, but it is not like CI. I don't think BTC can drop that much now that BlackRock's money is in Bitcoin. It's too big to collapse 80% and 90% and whatnot. But we will see. Next year is the year of the horse. The horse is the enemy of the rat. Bitcoin is a rat. So next year there will be a huge crash in BTC. I don't know when it's going to happen. But as soon as the year of the horse hits, between February, March, April, May, June, July, watch out, man. The market's going to be red. You might need DeFi to save you. But if you are into BTC, you might want to take some profits next year. See, I said, can you name some coins, tokens which will never recover? That's the thing, we don't know. I don't have a crystal ball to be able to tell, okay, this coin is not going to recover and whatnot. Here's the game. In 2017, we had Dash. We had Verge. I'm naming coins that are that disappeared. In we had Zcash. We had so many great altcoins. Omise Go. If you remember Omise Go, where are all of those coins now? Every cycle, a lot of the coins that were very popular, they would disappear. So this cycle around, I think the pump, whatever that was on pump.fund that was not necessarily needed, it was just built out of speculation, it's going to fizzle out next year. And the things that had a great foundation and fundamentals, those things are going to stand. What coins is going to be the next FTX, Luna, for the next bear market? Well, a lot of people are saying perpetual bonds, but I think the futures contracts that are being tokenized in crypto, that are coming into crypto right now, that could cause a huge problem next year, because they don't know any better and they are over leveraging themselves. They're not just doing it with perpetual bonds and DEXs and whatnot, but they are doing it in a manner where like they really overly leveraging themselves. And those institutional investors that are buying those futures contracts, and those, if those contracts expired and they didn't 100x and they lost a lot of funds, that thing could create a ripple effect that's going to affect Bitcoin to the point where Bitcoin could drop down heavy. I don't see a 80% crash, but close. It might come close next year. Yeah, the next crash, because retail, we ain't got no money, but we ain't causing no crash or nothing. We didn't make anything. The altcoin season didn't pump. So we're not going to get hurt if this thing go down. But the institutions that were buying futures contracts and they were tokenizing it on the blockchain, oh my days. Lord help them. Like Stratum, RabbitBlocks, Nano, Verge, etc. Yeah, man. Yeah, there's a lot of coins. Sui seems promising, but it feels like Luna. Yeah, in a sense it is. Sui is centralized though. They got hit, I think, a few months ago. But yeah, there was a hack on Sui or something. But if they manage to, they're not necessarily like Luna. I mean, Luna was an algorithmic stable coin that was running the token itself, and it wound up doing what it did. But yeah, I don't think Sui is Luna, but I think Sui might have a legs to go, but long term they need to try to take the decentralized way as long as they can. Omi say go 2017. Yeah, I was even on the Bitfinex. Oh man, you just reminded me. CI Bitfinex. Oh my days, that's another exchange. Bitfinex, Bitfinex. That's all we heard in 2017. Yeah, CI is an OG, man. You know, the next Luna is World Liberty Finance, Trump's project. You know what? I didn't touch World Liberty Finance. What if Trump's lose and the Democrats come back in the next elections? All of the things that he founded, they might go to zero. But yeah, man, this is crazy. You remember the coin before Hex from Richard? I guess he just dropped. He dropped it and never talked about it again. Like Byteball, bent down forever. Yeah, something like that. I think Hex was called Bitcoin Hex when he first started to get it. But you know, Richard just took from all these other guys' playbooks. He was studying Roger Ver and a lot of the people that inspired him and to create Hex, and the rest is history, man. That's why I need that feel back to come back into DeFi, the level of creativity to come back, and just people staking and yielding and earning and being a community and being one again. I don't like this isolating thing where people are just isolated with each other and whatnot, and they're staying away from each other because there's no creativity. We're not listening to each other, and that's the problem. Before Bitcoin Hex, yeah, Richard talked about a lot of stuff too. I remember the interview he did with Ivan on Tech. This was January, February, or March of 2018. And it almost seems like Richard was crying. He was really pissed off because he thought Bitcoin was going to go to 50,000 in 2018, but it didn't. It topped in 2017, December, at around 17, 18, or 19K or something like that. It barely touched 20,000 per BTC. It just went zoop to zero. So yeah, once Bitcoin dropped, Richard lost a lot of money, man. And then he began to sit down with Roger Ver and all these guys, and they're explaining to him what they did with Bitcoin Cash, Satoshi's vision, and all this other stuff. So he said, all right, I'm going to create my own Bitcoin. Y'all going to dump on me? Y'all ain't going to dump on me. You see, people in crypto, the whales always teach you a lesson. And then you go in and go your merry way and create your own farmland and playground. That's what he did. He lost a lot of money with Bitcoin, bro. All of that, I'm from Panama and I was a rich millionaire entrepreneur before the game. Hex made this ninja rich. Not no Panama money. The Panama connection. Spam King, Richard Hart. Ricky, he got the tablets. Where's Smack? Big Smack. Smack knows Ricky. Shout out to Smack, man. If Smack was here, you would have cracked up laughing. Smack knows Ricky. That's my boy. I like Smart, man. OG. Before Bitcoin had CDS or something. Yeah, I forgot the name of that coin. Like, it was a CD contract too, like a certificate of deposit and whatnot. I think he tried to drag the Bitcoiners into that too, but his whole thing was just to impress Bitcoiners, Richard Hart. He always wanted to impress them. And unfortunately, they always called him a scammer and all these other things, and it just didn't work out with him. But yeah, man. All right, people, man, I gotta get out of here. You know, I've been on for like what, 2.5 hours. Big up to you all who tuned in. I'll be back. You know, if I have time like this, like it's a beautiful Sunday. Look at the weather. I'm on this beautiful farmland right here. You know. Yeah. So family always ask you, when the wifey asks you, when is the market going up? I was like, shh, one more all-time high from being mortgage free. Like up the video, share the live, do all of that stuff, guys. I'm gonna get off now. But yeah, shout out to you all, man, for tuning in. I'll try my best. If I have time, yeah, I will. I will definitely come back and do lives, and we can do the one-on-one thing. And in the future, I'm gonna set up a live stream and do all of that stuff that I used to do before, where I can invite people on and sit down and we can have the beautiful one-on-one conversations, man. Yeah. Big up to you guys, bro. Talk soon. Peace.